Picking up on this is that they're creating a lot of like white people are saying that they've been, targeted, and black people are saying that they've been targeted by this group or that group, and their women's rights and the women's libs are really sort of, playing that up at the moment. And so what I'm saying is that there's more and more division being pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And if Flat Earth teaches us anything, is that actually we are all one, and we're meant to come together as one. And if we can set aside the craziness of these different religions, then we're going to find ourselves hopefully in a better place to find that kind of spiritual oneness eventually. A final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. And that's the truth, my friends. It's made in a basement. It's Hollywood. It's fiction. Earth is flat. Water is flat. And if you don't know that yet, you are still living in Disneyland. The underside. How can you get underneath? How do you walk underneath a ball and not fall off? But for a magic word called gravity. How do you fly underneath? Upside down. But you're not upside down, you're still on the level when you're in Australia. But apparently you're upside down. Why has the space station never taken a photograph of anything flying upside down or a ship clinging to the underside of the ball?
So you say that the Earth is completely flat?
I say that all ancient cultures, our forefathers, from just a few hundred years ago, would have all said the Earth was flat. Just 200 years ago, 100 years ago, most people were saying that the Earth was flat. It was only when NASA started sending back pictures of Earth from the moon that said, right, that's it, proven, the case closed. It's now, we've seen it as a ball in space. But it turns out that the NASA footage, well, all of that, all of the telemetry data from that stuff has been lost or stolen or got rid of. They even admit they haven't got the technology to go back to moon, which is why we haven't been back in all this time. We say now, you look at it again, I'm 50 years old. I looked at this 3 years ago. I thought we went to the moon. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon. You look at that documentary and you'll realize that they are faking the moon landing. They are faking the moon landing, and then you start to unpick what else are they faking. See, they practice in a swimming pool, right? At 20 meters and 30 meters of depth, you've got 3 bar of pressure on that suit. Whilst in space, they've got 0 pressure sucking out of that suit, but the suit looks exactly the same in both conditions. So I'm saying when I looked at Tim Peake, the British astronaut, he got up into space apparently, and he did a little flip for the camera. Well, I can see the harness. Go back and look at it on YouTube. You can see the harnesses are there. There's plenty of people who are picking these apart, and you see the cables holding them up when they're floating, but you start to realize that this might be all about you, that you may well be the center of creation, and that this experience that you're meant to be having as a divine feminine in your case should be a balanced experience, not one where the divine masculine and the divine feminine are all skewed imbalanced and we're fighting with each other. Not that, but one where we're in love with each other, where we care about each other, black, white, Chinese, Muslim, it doesn't matter, we're all one. I would say that we could be the Christ having an experience here, but that experience, that light has been dulled from the day you were conceived and the day you were born, and then injected with vaccines, and then poisoned with toxins in your food, in your water, in your air, and therefore in your television and your sport and your pornography. All of these things that I enjoyed myself for many, many years are things that are designed to rob you of your true sense of self and keep the divine masculine imbalanced. So I'm too alpha male, or I'm too beta male, or I'm such a hard-headed woman, I'm going to be the king of the CEOs of all the companies in the Docklands. See me on Forbes 500 because I'm a powerful this, I'm a powerful that. Fuck all of that. You're a divine creation of the Creator, meant to be having an awesome experience, sharing, loving, not fighting each other in some Darwinian scrabbling to get up ahead of each other. And that is what the ball does to your mind. It makes you a monkey. It took me months of reviewing everything that I'd learned to start to realize that, heck, they've lied to us about everything. But that your religion is saying that you are not important. Your government is saying that you are not important. Your king used to say that you were just a serf and not important. Your science says that you are not important. You are just a lucky strike that just happened to appear 4 billion years ago, climbed out of the pond, became a monkey, then was black in Africa, and now I'm white in Europe. That is a load of bullshit. I used to tell my children that, but that is a load of bullshit. I was created like I am, a white European man, and I am a man, and I'm happy to be what I am, and I respect every other person, human, for the experience that they're meant to be having here, but it's equally divine. I and you are as powerful as the sovereign we call the Queen in Buckingham Palace over the road. That's it. We are all equally powerful, but we have been convinced, cajoled, tricked, and traduced into giving that all away. But we point at each other. The black man says the white man's enslaving me. The white man in South Africa says the black man's enslaving me. The Muslim says the Christian is enslaving me. And the Jew says everybody's on my back. And this is all the divide and conquer stuff that we got going on. And to have a roof over your head, you have to go to work for 20, 30 years just for the privilege to have a roof over your head. That's a nonsense. You are a divine creature. You should be given full rights, just like the royals. You should be born into a royal family that gives you everything you need to go and enjoy this life to its maximum and full potential. That's my thesis on this.
All right. There's some technicals there. It's Friday night. Welcome to We Gather. And the sun is shining. Certainly where we are in the world at the moment. I hope that you enjoyed that blast from the past. That was a different time, wasn't it? 2018. I couldn't listen to that for years. Now I can kind of listen to it without getting too choked up because the journey has been immense. But also, you know, the way Harry put that together, it felt very powerful. And
well, I think also an honouring of you, and it's good to also celebrate how far we've come, and that's certainly.
Yeah, I don't want to have the one night spoilers and everything on there. Yeah, so lovely to see you guys in the chat, and actually, Conspiracy Music Guru, I saw you in the chat. Alex, I see you've got the link for later. Alex is going to join us at 7:30 our time, so that's in about 20 minutes. We thought we'd just have a little preamble before the guru joins us. And I have been using a lot of his music for Solfeggio, particularly to start these streams. And so because he was coming on, I thought I would blow my own trumpet for a change. That was an epic day. That was an epic day, an epic time, and funnily enough, I came out of nowhere, started doing this, and I felt at the time it was like, wow, here's something that I can do, and I'm somewhat good at it, with a little bit of practice and some honing and training and some experience, who knows, and that ambition to, not that I set out with that ambition when I started, but that ambition to be a voice amongst others, to be a change agent in the world. That is something that matters to us, to me, still.
So can I just add, because I love this. This is for me where like the dots are joined. In Dave's chart, he has Leo in the 11th house, which is the house of community. It's ruled by Aquarius, and it's also humanitarian work. And it's so fascinating for me where Dave's life, he's had life experiences where he was in Amdram, but in school he did some
like school
drama.
plays.
So it was kind of preparing him for this moment, or these moments, or this time. And then of course he also had, carries the wound of not being heard and valued, and so that, that powerful portal of pain that he had was what sort of pushed him to want to be out there and be heard. I just think it's such a beautiful example of how our blueprint shows those already opportunities. He also has Jupiter in this house, which is the house of expansion. So, and it's spiritual. So he's out there telling people how, you know, how expansive they are and who they truly are. So it's just for me, it's just a beautiful confirmation of Dave being in alignment with what he's come here to be. So
And starting in, you know, like deep truth seeking only in 2014, I realized that, you know, I was quite late to the party. There'd been a lot of people doing awesome work for a decade and more. So, you know, when the flat earth kind of going, like I saw Harry McDonald doing, and Josh over in America, you know, seeing these guys going out into the field and actually talking to people, like, I could do that. I enjoyed it, and I felt like I could do that. And so when that first opportunity came in Hyde Park for that gathering of people, that was, just like a doorway opened for me. And it was action, you know, I had to take a certain action and have felt and continue, I suppose, to feel that I'm still kind of, you know, finding my niche, my groove, you know, that, you know, you get to a point where, like Dave Murphy, where, you know, people are calling you up and going, you know, could you come and have a chat with us? That's what I'm looking forward to. Anyway, I put that out there. NDB wants that clip. Well, thank you. It's on my channel. It's like if you go to the most viewed videos, then it's in the top 3 or 4.
I think it's your intro video.
I think.
Is that not your intro video?
No, I think the intro video is Oxford video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Oxford video, that fires you up every time. Thanks, man. The Oxford video, which was the other one, was also just like that epic. But I've spoken about it before, and I didn't intend to speak too much about this at the beginning of our gathering this evening. But
can I tell them a little backstory? Because obviously, in about 2015, Dave started doing this research, and of course, he was fired up. You know, he was at that point of the journey where I think most people who have that sort of awakening moment think that everyone wants to know and everyone should know, and yet he didn't know how to. He was on social media is trying to, and just getting a lot of pushback. And of course he felt it was his duty to tell his family or to certainly share what he was learning with us.
Military veterans.
And of course, for us it was, I wasn't fully on board at that point. But he'd just be like, you know, there was so much at that point. He was able to research quite a lot. So he had so much information that he wanted to share, along with all that sort of rage and you know, all the emotions that you go through.
Passion, I like that.
No, some of it was rage and grief at having to give up.
These wars have all been fabricated. All the banking is a complete robbery of your life energy. You know, your soul is not meant to be enslaved. We are not meant to be stabbing babies with little, you know, pins and needles and all that toxin and stuff. As I said in that video, you know, that was 2018. And of course, before then, I'd worked all that stuff out.
Anyway, I eventually said to him, you know, having got to a point where, you know, he was just coming. It was in the family field. It was just going round and round in circles, and he was incredibly frustrated. And I said, you have to go and find someone you can talk to. And that's when he started to sort of reach out to people like Harry, and who was at the time was a sort of a pioneer in the sort of truth street activism. And he kind of took you under his wing a little bit, didn't he? And helped you out. And of course, Jason was then in that sort of area as well. So that's how that all unfolded.
And for those who are newer to the channel, the 2018 Flat Earth tour, which was, you know, Harry and Jason's baby, I got the privilege of getting on 5 or 6 dates on that, or just, you know, being able to join. And Oxford was one of them. That video you saw this evening wasn't part of that time frame. That was perhaps a little later, when Harry had time to listen to me talk, and he said, "Let me come and spend some time with you." He came and spent a week with us, and then we went out and did
a
some
really
activism.
lovely video
Video
of
of
Zizi
Zizi.
in Crystal Palace Park.
Yeah, so that was a special time, you know, because the Flat Earth tour of 2018 never stopped, like in a camp. They may have stopped in a campsite, but the only night that they weren't in the camper van was the night they stayed at our house, and they all slept on the lounge floor. I think we put mattresses down or something for the crew at the time, you know, and that was it was awesome, you know, because we were, you know, getting really involved in what was such an important and growing movement of
Well, there's a real
activism.
energy. There was
Yeah.
a real energy at that point.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had, you know, life has
And 2020
has thrown all of us
through a spanner. in the
a
works.
whole lot of curveballs. I think it was all meant. You know, it's going through the eye of the needle. It was
Well, and also, you know, our community, if we can call it that, Flat Earth community, is, you know, not without its the same traumas that we had prior to learning about the globe deception. So, you know, just because we've learned about Daddy's affair doesn't mean that all of the psychology of him lying to you all of those years and him, you know, treating you poorly because of, or you know, whatever, the effect on your psyche has not gone away simply by knowing the truth.
well, and it's also multi-layered, right?
And
So you're constantly
so
going
what I
deeper.
find in the truth community, one is we're a little bit suspicious of most people.
Lack of trust.
Yeah, and then and also, and which, you know, has been an issue for me over the years. You know, I haven't wanted to allow too much of my family, although some might say I've put too much of my family online, and I would accept that, you know, remark. It's an opinion thing, but you know, but and also that I think that, you know, within, you know, the ranks are people that are, you know, perhaps of a nefarious nature. You know, I think that might be true. But more importantly, like, we find ourselves still separated. You know, we're like the Church of the Catholicism, but there are, or you know, Protestant, but there are offshoots. You know, and this. It's the same psychology of them and us, Globers, non-Globers, you know what I mean? Like Baxter, you know, there's so many, you know, there's so many of that material, bloody Einsteinian, globular kind of MK Ultra programmed mind setting still in play. That
I'd like to say it in a more compassionate way, because I think we can't.
I thought I was being extremely compassionate.
I think, you know, it's so entangled and so deep, and you know, I think generations worth, that it takes time, and there's a deepening. So yeah, you find out this external truth, and then you have to have you deal with some emotion with that, but then it takes you deeper and deeper and deeper. And the whole point is so that you can return to who you truly are, I believe. And I think what we tend to forget, which is the sort of going back to sleep or falling back into the story, whether that be a new layer or a new story or a new area of life that you have to look at, is that the outside is a mirror. And the outside and life and the world is a mirror, and it's constantly, like, the things that trigger us really are the opportunity to, like, look at how you're attached to that, in what way you're attached to that, and that's, I think, the point. And then when you become, I don't want to say detached, because I don't know if that's ever completely possible, but when you're more the observer of the world and in flow of that, and responsible, and really in your sovereignty. I think sovereignty is like, I'm responsible for creating my experience, so the world is just, and life is just offering you all these opportunities all the time.
So do you mean, like, if I see threats out there, that life is going to throw me threats and offer me that?
I think that what is appearing from a lens, and until it's almost like you've got a lens that's got all like smudges on it. You know, until you can clear that lens of the smudges, you're still seeing the world through the smudges, or rose tinted, for instance. You know, sometimes we see the world through rose tint, but mostly, if your little tiny world, which is what I think our family field unit is in the very beginning. When that feels unsafe, and remember, it doesn't have to be that you're actually physically made to feel unsafe. If we feel emotion, like we weren't given emotional safety, which I don't believe our parents intended, but when you're not conscious, you're not aware that your child is experiencing something, or that you're even creating that something, or you're even maybe just the field that child has to be in, then the child immediately feels unsafe, and so it attaches a meaning to the outside world, authority, whatever is unsafe, and then that's the lens we see the world through.
Yes, I like the analogy of the driver who's sort of going around with a red mist. He's going to have a far more tempestuous drive than the person who's kind of, you know, taking this sort of, you know, and you know, it's okay, you know, obviously you don't really want to encounter the red mist driver, and it's okay if that's you. What's helpful though is that you can identify that that's you, and that's not, or that's how you are, you know, operating in this context, and that's not how you would prefer to operate. So where do you go back to in the story to get to a point where that is assuaged? Because we can't just drink it and smoke it away. It's still going to be sitting there.
Totally, you can't bypass it, you know, and we can, but either it starts to become a physical ailment, which we are seeing a lot.
Don't you see that? I mean, maybe I'm just being, what's the word, you know, when confirmation biasing here, but I feel like I see more ailing people when I go into town.
Well, it's complicated because one, we use our life force to suppress and to control and grip, to survive, and also then we add extra things into our system, i.e. the intervention of the last 4 years. For example, it could be food, it could be other things, but we add those things into the mix, and then obviously that adds another layer of complexity to it. But yeah, people are using their life force to. We were saying this earlier on a call with Nathan that, you know, we're so fearful of loss and pain that we've experienced, or that we've even come here to move through, and we're so afraid of death, whether that be losing someone or our own, that we're literally just doing whatever we can to survive, and we're actually missing out on this incredible experience, and it becomes this choice of heaven and hell, right?
Isn't that so? It's like meant to be a magical experience. You must know people in your life who are so fixated on a particular thing, and, you know, like to say football, let's pick on football, you know, like it's, you know, it's such a fabulous life, and we end up, and, you know, maybe football's not the worst thing I suppose to be fixated on, but we end up like so fixated on the game out there, even for us in the truth community, where we're, you know, battling the, you know, the evil system and the evil, you know, organizations that's, you know.
Yeah, we miss out on the simple things, right?
Yeah,
you know,
and
we're rushing to get somewhere, and that somewhere doesn't even exist. It's like there is nowhere to get to in life, and we're just kind of like, oh, I've just got to make it through. I've got to make it through. You know, how many people we say, how are you doing? And they say, oh, I'm surviving. It's like, well, that's not how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that hard things don't happen and they feel uncomfortable and, you know, and shitty. But it's how we move through those things, I think, that's important. And again, you know, it's not a quick fix. I think that I was just having this conversation with my daughter because, she's very much committed to doing the work, the inner work, and sometimes it feels so hard and like she's messing up or she's not getting there, and that's of course the mind again telling her she's got somewhere to get to and she's got to fix something, and really that's not true. It's a return, a reclamation, a homecoming, and yet I'm so proud of her courage that at 26 she's willing to do this deep work, but it's not for the faint-hearted. Confronting your own shadows and the depth of pain and shame and all the other things that we carry takes great courage, and that's why I understand why people don't want to, because it's just it's so hard.
Like Andrew was saying, in those early years of seeing and being angry at the system and so on, there is a victim status in that, hey? When we are being done upon. Well, I wonder if we shouldn't be trying to flip that and go, no, actually, as much as we don't agree with it, it is what it is. It's been created by something, and we win, we succeed by moving through that phase, because we know that from studying trauma coaching and stuff like that, we know that anger is one of the lower energy states. We need to move through anger. It's this continuum, yes, and we kind of will come back around and so on. It's not to say once you've dealt with anger, it's never, I'm never going to be angry again.
Anger is an incredibly important energy. Without anger, we cannot move or have boundaries.
Yeah, but we do not want to live in a cesspool of anger. That's your choice, free will. But we recommend that we're moving up towards higher states of.
Well, I like to think of it as none of them are bad, all of them are necessary. But if we're stuck in them or we're suppressing them, I've got to fly. If we're suppressing them, then obviously that means that and that's the field that you then emanate. That field that you emanate. I'm sure you've all met someone that is in you can feel their heavy energy, whether that be sadness. I mean, truth be told, that was a large. I carried so much grief and so much rage, and I was really like trying to control it. Hence, me needing to have my gallbladder taken out, because that's where rage is, and that was the field. And I think there was a time where we could fake it, but actually, I heard someone say the other day that obviously love and joy and bliss and all those are, those energies are really high frequency, but actually the highest frequency is authenticity. When someone is truly being authentic, whether that's that they are feeling sad, but they're being authentic, that is actually the highest frequency.
There you go. Authenticity. And actually animals and babies can discern that. So, we as adults need to.
It's an interesting thing. It's a good measure of Dave, is that babies just cannot stop staring at Dave. When we see babies out, they're mesmerized.
Yeah, and they'll watch me as they're going, mommy's pushing them past in the pram, and the head will be like craning all the way around it.
And we give off this field and this energy, and Dave is a Cancer moon, so he does carry that kind of more mother.
I've got like a feminine quality in my astrology. I didn't know this until recently, but there's a feminine quality in that. And then, that feminine quality is absolutely fine in a masculine rugby, South African kind of culture, and most cultures really, that, these days that doesn't really sit too well and isn't very welcome. So, one needs to man up, tough up, and run the hard yards, and then maybe you can revert
but that's
to
such a masculine programmed needing to defend
Yeah.
your feminine
Yeah,
emotional
I might have to start pumping
needs.
some iron here.
When it's
free
we
weights.
all have different
Archetypes,
different ways of processing our emotional needs, and yours is Cancer, and it's ruled by the moon, so that's more feminine, but that just also means you have that incredibly nurturing, sensitive, intuitive.
Babies do that to me too, he says, Bass Ackwards. Good to see you. It'll be interesting. It's interesting. Your astrology is so fascinating, and the connections. We were having a chat with Nathan earlier over in Thailand.
He's doing astrotheology. He's looking at astrotheology, so he's really like going into the nuts and bolts and its origin and
in the same way as your birth, your Earth, your universe has its own electromagnetic signature from this, from the system.
We are not frightened. We are enlightened.
It sounds like you guys can hear me. Okay. It sounds like you guys can hear me. Ooh, this is weird. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Something's coming up. We're ready to go.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Thank you. What is that? Have you got audio back now?
Okay. Hey.
Hey, can you hear us? No? No.
Are you holding?
Can you hear us, mate? No?
No?
I can hear you, yeah. Hold on. I can't hear you on Zoom, but I can hear you on the live stream.
Have you put it through OBS? Have you
What?
actually?
Don't ask me.
I can't hear you on Zoom,
Yeah.
but I can hear you on the live stream.
Did you do it in the 4 than 2?
Yeah, I think so.
What? I can hear you on Zoom.
Oh,
but
that's
I can hear you.
weird. Okay. Yeah, I'm on that. Yeah, I'm on that. Oh man. So I'm delayed. Glyph says it's working, but I don't know that it's on time.
That says it's working.
How's that now?
Ah, there you go.
Well, we newbies to this tech stuff.
Yeah.
It just
there you
shows
go.
we're showing our age. I'm blaming it on our age.
Wow, that was a little bit of an ordeal.
We got there in the end. How you guys
Yeah.
doing?
Good.
Sorry to keep everybody waiting.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Well, being here.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for the invite. I don't want to worry you, but just keep perfectly still. There's a massive tiger behind you. You know that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's a beauty, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I blame the tiger for all of the technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Looking over us, right?
I had it down here, but I thought, oh no, that's not going to make people that'll get the tongues wagging.
Back in the day, if you'd been on Russian Vids and only had one eye, they would have been in the chat going, he's Masonic.
We were sitting in a freezing winter. I'm sitting outside in Luke's student accommodation where we were staying for a little while, and I'm talking to Russian Vids, and behind me is like a red brick wall. And I've got people going, this guy must be dodgy because he's got a red brick wall behind him. I'm like, fuck, have you not seen any of what I've been through the last few years, man? Because they'd have to pay me a lot of money and it wouldn't be so hard.
It's so there's this truth of psychosis out there that just people go too far. I mean, I put a couple of videos out. My last acoustic video that I did, two or three acoustic videos I did back in the last one I did in the studio with friends. And in my studio, as you know, I've got these sound tiles on the wall that stop the reverb reflection, and they happen to be in a checkerboard format, and they're black and blue. They're not black and white. They're black and blue. It goes with the theme of the studio. It's all black and blue in there.
Yeah.
And someone was like, "Oh yeah, look at those tiles. They're checkerboard. That was put there on purpose. Like you must be." I'm like, "Come on, bro. Do you not know anything about it? It's just like you have to at that point just delete. I can't deal with that kind of psychotic behavior where you just everybody is suspicious because there's a chessboard in the background and it's got a checkerboard on it, and it's insane, mate. It's insane. I mean, I had one guy comment on my video. I'll never forget this. Years ago, because I had a dog. I mean, I used to put my little Cocker Spaniel in my Flat Earth Man videos. And the guy commented, he went, "Oh, he's got a dog in his videos. You know what that means? The reverse of dog is God. Therefore, he is mocking God. Beware of this man." It's like, oh, come on.
Do you know what? Do you know what it is though? For me, it's like they are actually not dealing with their serious like distrust, but because the distrust is more that they don't actually trust themselves, and because I think one of the most important aspects, in fact, Dave, this is one of the things Dave said to me back in the day, is the most important thing we're going to have to be able to do is to discern. And I think now more than ever, right? Because there's so much opportunity for there to be like, AI driven or I mean, NASA is a perfect example of that, right? Where it's so if you're in it, it's so believable, and that we don't have that like deep trust of knowing like a gut saying, no, this is off, but from your intuition discernment is more like a peaceful discernment, whereas the mind is like a panic. It's a panic discernment. It's like or an emotional discernment, whereas that one inside is like, either I know this is not good or I know this is not bad, but from a place of like, I just know.
Yeah, I think where we've come from, like, we've had to be on a journey that has taken us from this group of friends and this kind of, consciousness about the world to a different state. And then, as you move along that journey, so perhaps people will not be able to continue that journey and go further at the pace that you're moving along. And so, people sometimes get left behind on your journey. And that's what it is with people like that, because those folks are going to take a long time, if ever, to let go of those deep preconceptions of what this means and you and blah, 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 blah. Anyway.
I mean, there's levels, isn't there? There's levels. I mean, I remember being that kind of, when I first got into truth, I remember being that Oh, I guess paranoid, I suppose, is the word, because you just become in that sphere of like just not trusting, and everything is a cyber and everything is a symbol, and then you kind of zoom out a little bit. You can not everyone's a shill, and not everyone's like doing. You just realise that people are fallible and people say things that they shouldn't say sometimes. We've all been victim of that. I've said plenty of things but just because someone said something that they shouldn't have said, because we're all fallible, then automatically, oh, he said this, he must be a shill. He's got this in the background. There's a sphere there, or there's a checkerboard there, and it's just like it's just so ridiculous at this point. But I find those comments sort of a little bit laughable now. I'm now at that point where I'm so zoomed out now. I don't look for symbolism in every kind of, like, looking at your background. Like, this is what people are doing. They're looking at your back. Oh, tiger. What's the numerology of tiger? They put it into, like, Chaldean, and it's 33 in Chaldean, but it's 66 and then you're just then the comics.
And there's like 2 columns here as well. It seems like there's 2 columns. So that symbolism really puts me right in the middle of a Freemasonic lodge right now. So.
Yeah.
But you know what, Alex? I think it's more, there is something more imperative for us to become, in a way, like you may not have had a church sort of experience growing up, but I did, and there were some preachers in the church who had such a benevolent, kind, warm way about them. You were kind of more drawn to them, and I think that when we're in a state of say I'm the preacher who's been all naughty with certain things, right, which will remain nameless, but I've been naughty with things, then there's going to be something in my energy that is off. Those little children are not going to be, those babies are not going to be eyeing you, watching you as you go past. And I think this is where we need discernment, but also need to begin to present ourselves in, and I'm speaking to myself, in ways that are more aligned and in honor of the divine essence that we really are. Because we've come from the meat market, we've come from the slave farm. We have generations of that mindset, and so we kind of meet the world in that way. But when you meet the world in the way of, like, well, we are the divine expressing itself in this realm, then we start to kind of have that. And we know that because, there's some people who recently migrated back to, like, the underside of a ball, apparently. Like, they used to be flat earthers, blah, 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 and now they're sticking on the underside of a ball, not falling off, blah, blah, blah. These people, if you look back and learn from the experience of how you encountered these people and how was their energy, were they sincere, were they deep, and so on, then you might say, yeah, I can see where those people were not, and where I could be more.
I'll have to interject there, because I'm going to have to use the name Jay, because I don't like using his name. But from the very start, when I first encountered Mr. J, I thought he was authentic from the start. And I put that guy on a pedestal, and I thought it was a massive part of my journey, and I had no suspicions that guy was not authentic in any way, shape, or form. It's only the last few months, because of the TFE and everything, that there's been a massive flip flop. And I don't know, you could say compromise at that point, and then you could put your tinfoil hat on and start asking as to why. But I thought he was genuine from the start, genuine and authentic from the start. I don't think he's a lifetime, or doing this 10-year kind of plan. So I genuinely saw authenticity from him right from the start. It's only the last 6 months that I just saw a completely different person. And I don't know why. I know. I mean, I'm just joking here, but I don't know if he's been cloned or anything like that, or replaced. I know I'm just joking when I say things like that, but it's just a completely different personality to what I kind of, grew up with. If I'm talking in, child.
We didn't know these people before. So, like, if you'd known them before and gone, okay, this is him sounding absolutely sincere and so on, then or he sounds like he's kind of like not really in it.
I see. I have a different view. Well, I don't have. I'm beyond trying to know what the motives were behind that experience, but it was a real test for people in trusting themselves, I think, and deciding, is this a yes or a no, and then moving along. And so instead of necessarily needing to make him into anything other than just a man that hasn't necessarily done that his own work in that respect, I think those people that have been able to say this isn't aligned with me anymore, I'm not aligned with him anymore, I think that actually maybe it's an opportunity to honor that actually you're ready to move on from those people. You know, we journey along with people, and then sometimes we need to leave them behind.
Yeah, I get that, but that change happened instantly. It's not like I gradually sort of saw that I don't resonate with this person. It was almost an overnight change of personality, which like just blew my mind. How this one person that I put on a pedestal, respected, and would do musical work for free for many years, and then all of a sudden turned into this guy that was attacking me, threatened to sue me publicly. On his channel, and that's another conversation for another day. And it was just like this weird thing where this person just turned on not just me, but pretty much everyone in the community. It's almost like he's been like he'd been paid or encouraged to cause as much division as possible and cause as much divide. And obviously, I've got questions with that.
Paid, or perhaps there was some like squeeze that was put on him for some reason to walk away, and which is okay.
Well, maybe the test is that we should not have anybody on pedestals anymore, because at the end of the day, the moment we make someone a guru,
how dare you?
Make someone a guru. Hey, it doesn't mean I can't be inspired or can't respect that person for their talent or their creativity or their expression or whatever it is they do. It doesn't mean I can't do that. But the moment I make someone like then they're always going to fall off the pedestal.
Yeah, it's like when you've got the Britney Spears kind of thing, when you're a teenager growing up or whatever, and then she then falls off the pedestal and so on. It's like,
for me as a youngster, it was Tom Cruise. You know, I grew up as a Top Gun girl.
Scientology.
And
there you go.
I didn't have many idols growing up. I wasn't really like the poster on the wall, but he was one of them. And then I remember him doing a speech. I can't remember how long ago, many years ago, talking about depression. And he was coming at it from a Scientology point of view. And I remember being completely taken aback by his view on it, and that was the moment, that he fell off the pedestal for me. So yeah, I think that maybe this was a test for people in the community. This doesn't absolve Jaron for whatever his motives are, but it is a test for us to go, well, maybe we need to. There needs to be some leveling out here. Again, we can respect someone for the work that their zone of genius.
Yeah, I think so, Alex. And we are all these divine essences, So when we know that, even though you're a super talented musician, and I'm not.
Wannabe.
But you have the passion, though. You do have the passion. I've seen it.
Yeah, live.
He's looking so forward to expressing that passion again sometime soon.
I can't wait.
But and I think that's what we do. Hey, and I'm guilty of this myself, is that we put people on pedestals, and then by pedestaling someone else, we are perpetuating this sort of thing of we're not equal. Even though I can honor and admire your talent, that doesn't make us less than equal. And someone else has a different skill set that they bring to the table, which is like, whoa, that's admirable, And so, I think that, and maybe that's what we can learn from this experience. But I think that, I don't know, maybe what the harm will come from, the fallout, as it were. But it's probably any press is good press when people are starting to talk about the subject more and more. And that channel did do a fair bit of work in perpetuating or pushing forward this truth, but then segue into like this truth is gateway truth. This truth is just the baseline. Like, oh, wake up, everything's a lie. This whole reality has been fabricated. So step through the flat earth gateway and discover the truth about who you truly are. And if we stay at the gateway, squabbling over some guy's, whatever, then we're falling prey of the sweets, the trinkets, and the kind of the jewels of being able to be in the kind of the Coronation Street of it, or the East Enders, or the soap opera.
It's also interesting because we were just talking about this before we came on Zoom. Is that if life is a mirror, and if in the truth community, or in the flat Earth community, one of the wounds that perhaps a lot of people carry is that betrayal wound, that they've been betrayed.
Yeah.
Then this particular little experience would have brought that up for most people, that feeling of betrayal, and as a consequence being let down by and all the rage and resentment and even maybe even grief, because this was someone that people would have felt was their brother, or someone.
There is nobody that has felt more betrayal and more grief than I when it comes, because he just did a complete. I'm not talking about his flip flop on his stance on cosmology and anything like that. I'm just talking about his stance on me. He used to like make posts about me going, "Conspiracy Music Guru never ceases to amaze me. He's done this song for me," and he's just, and all of a sudden just flipped overnight to attacking me. It's like I felt so betrayed, because everything I did for him over the last many years, I didn't ask for a penny. And there's an awful lot of work that goes into production to make his intros and his jingles and that, of which I did many. So it's not really his flip that bothers me. He can believe what the hell he wants. I don't care. It doesn't make no difference to my life. But when he started attacking me, it was like I just felt so betrayed, so gutted, absolutely gutted. And it was just, it was like a massive kick in the balls. And I mean, I'm over it now. It was very, very shocking for me, a few months ago, and I'm over it now. And the whole thing is actually laughable to me now. But I see it for what it is, and maybe just must be a massive shift in frequency. I don't resonate with that particular person anymore, or there's a conspiracy there where he's been compromised in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. I mean, we could talk about that for hours, but it just felt so weird, so wrong. And I'm actually glad I'm free of that now. I almost wanted to make a song about it. I said to Shelley, I said, you know what, I want to make a song called Jaron Campanella is a Traitor. So I said that to Shelley, and she went, how about you never say that name in this house ever again? And I went, yeah, you're probably right, actually.
All right.
I think actually being allowing yourself to let it go, and obviously feel whatever you need to feel. I think that's really important. But allowing yourself to let it go is actually, because I'm going to say this word, and I'm not saying you necessarily are there yet with this particular person, but actually forgiving someone is not necessarily letting them off the hook or saying what they did wasn't, but it's freeing yourself. It's like, it's actually saying, I'm no longer going to hold on to any of that stuff and let it consume me. And
I think I'm there already. I think I'm there. It annoyed me for the longest time, for weeks and weeks. I was just like, I couldn't figure out why this guy turned against me. And then I just realized, well, I can't do anything about it. I just move on and remove that experience from my
well, can I put my little coaching hat on for a moment? It's not square, it's not whatever. Anyway, it's just that these things happen to us when we're young, actually. We get betrayed by experiences in our life and so on, and we so I find that we're getting given these experiences again later in life, so that we can look at that. Like I was saying with the guy who's driving the car, who goes, you know what, I can look at why it is that I've reacted in this way, because I didn't need to necessarily react in this way. Yes, for a moment perhaps, but I just wonder whether there isn't something
Totally.
useful in the
Totally.
experience, because betrayal will, and people will let us down and so on. And I know obviously you were deeply invested in this, and I'm not at all minimizing, but I'm giving it importance to say that it actually is a great teaching opportunity, because if you can
I totally agree. I've been down this road before where shitty things have happened to me for years and years. I mean, I probably mentioned my court case. I think I've mentioned that a few times, and we went through 3 years of hell with that. We was like, why God, why us, why? And at the time we went through so much stress, we lost an awful lot of money. But now, 10 years on from that experience, I know why that experience happened. It taught us an awful lot. We know so much about private and international law now, and I cherish that experience now. And I understand. And it took me a long time to get over that, and it still plagues Shelley a little bit. She's almost there, but we thank that opportunity now. And the same with Mr. J, but I got over that I saw the betrayal there. I saw something evil happening. I've distanced myself from it, and I see that is there to teach me a lesson, and it really has taught me a lesson. But
if I may interject, let's just say we use the example of a guy dates a girl dates a guy, and he gives her a bad experience of that. For her to then say, what I've learned from that is never trust men, right? We can flip and go now I'm going against who my natural self is, because Alex, your natural self is generous. You want to share your music. You want to be involved in something powerful, something useful. And Jaron was a conduit as well, because he was one of the leading voices in the community. So, I think what you were doing was awesome, and don't lose sight of that just because someone's poked you in the back in this way. And in fact, all of us, but obviously for you were near in the front of the queue.
Can I put it another way? And my mentor actually said it this way the other day. The experiences we have when we're very, very young, I'm talking 0 to 7, they leave an imprint in our nervous system, or if you want, in our muscles. So it's like muscle memory. And most of the time there is a whole lot of emotion there, that because we come from homes where, not intentionally necessarily, our parents didn't understand that they had to give safe space to their little children to feel things fully. There is an emotion entangled in that, and then when we have experiences later on in life, i.e. this, that muscle memory gets flooded back into our body, and everything that we didn't get to experience when we were little comes up with that same experience, and then it's an opportunity to complete. And that's the wonderful thing. It's like life gave you this experience to be able to complete something that's perhaps been living there for a very long time. And that's
another test, isn't it? Let's see how you handle this one. Have you learned anything from the traumas that this life keeps throwing at? Let's see how you deal with this. And although I was quite emotional and felt betrayed at the time, I got over it a lot quicker. And I'm like, there's another lesson there. It's like, I see what you're doing there. You're being tested here for sure.
So it's like it's another little piece of you that you get to take back, or that you get to put back in the puzzle that's kind of just been fragmented, is now it's another piece returning. It's an incredible thing, really, because we end up handing so much of our power over to someone else, i.e. Jaron. He gets to hold the power of this. No, I get to bring it back to me and use it for my good. And
it makes me stronger, man. It totally makes me stronger. It just adds to my neo-ness, if you know what I mean.
Totally.
And we're meant to be on this kind of this learning, if you like, this growing, and it's called growing pains for a reason, you know. And we do need to go through the fire to temper the sword, you know. And I think we are these souls that are here to temper the sword, and we've been given, you know, this as our tableau. We've been dropped into this Minecraft world called Earth 2025, and we're to kind of cherish it rather than be angry with it, rather than to be in a state of victimhood about it, you know. And everywhere I look in the world, I can find people that are claiming to be the victims, whether they're white, brown, black, you know, this religion, that religion, all sorts of places. And then, you know, here we are in the slaves' farm, you know, being, you know, energy being loosed is school backwards.
Where you get to use that kind
Oh
of.
wow!
Yeah.
School loose. Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
You like that?
Where
Yeah.
you not get to use that like energy on something way more nurturing or expressive or whatever feels good for you. You get to use it for you, you know.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, way more important than spending
Yeah.
hours, or some people are years, right, where they still feel so resentful for things that have happened in the past. And I'm not making a judgment on anyone who's still walking that, but
It's tough. It's tough for a lot of people, you know. It's tough. But you have to sort of, I don't know, rise above. And I don't really know the answer. You know, you can't just wave a magic wand and say a special word and then it all goes away. Obviously, I'm still dealing with the past traumas of all of these events that have happened to me. Yeah, it's really hard to let it all go. And if I knew the answer, then please someone tell my wife, because you know, she's quite an empath and is still suffering from, you know, all of those things apart. And I do, and I think we all do. I don't think there's a magic solution to just let go of all of that trauma. It is what shapes us ultimately. But oh God, it's so tough to let go of all of that trauma and betrayal, isn't it?
I don't know that it's a matter of letting it go. For me, it's not a matter of letting it go. It's a matter of allowing it to be, because what we do is we want to push it away, and it is. It's like there's this saying: don't try and erase the 10 of you that went before. They are your medicine. So in other words, those 10 versions of you got you to this point. And so for me, it's not about doing any with it. It's actually just being present with it. So when like this situation comes up, can I be with the feelings that I have? Can I be with the rage? Can I be with the resentment? Can I be with it in a healthy way? Obviously, not going like, you know.
Yeah, because we end up beating ourselves up about having a certain thing, and that's a self-perpetuating kind of cycle. Rather than, okay, I see you there, I'm going to let you be there, you know, and maybe, you know, so kind of like the way I was sort of taught to work with some of the energy stuff is that, you know, if you know, that defensive or that angry kind of position was one of taking care of yourself. It was there to protect you, and you can go. You know, I'm grateful for that, but I want freedom from like being trapped in this cycle. So I'm going to seek to allow that and then let it move up and out of me.
I think they're important. Yeah.
You know, which is kind of like a practice, I suppose. But
Well,
it really is.
Well, Alex does it in his music, doesn't he? A lot of the stuff you're expressing through your music. But for me, it's more about awareness. So I have awareness over this thing that happened to me and how I feel about it, and that I can actually have that be there, be with the feelings, because I don't think you can bypass them. But then you get to choose: am I going to respond to this experience that I'm in, or am I going to react to it? And normally the reaction is from the wound, and the response is the conscious choice. Like you've made conscious choices over this Jaren thing. You know, because you could have gone into, like, you could have written your song about he's a traitor.
In that I was angry at the time, and I felt so betrayed. And I thought, I mean, the only way that I'm really good at expressing myself is through music. Right, I'm going to go into the studio and I'm going to write a song about this, all angry. And obviously, I took a step back and decided, especially when Shelley said no.
You know what?
Terrible. terrible idea.
No, but sometimes actually, you know, say you've had a bit of a thing, they will say, write down what you're feeling, write down your angriest kind of thoughts, put it down, burn the paper when you're done. You don't have to do anything with it, but to vent all of that, and this is your way of venting, is writing. And
You just don't
Yeah.
have to make it public.
So, yeah,
maybe.
it doesn't have to be public. Although you could play it for us in September.
Talking of that, let's switch gears a little bit, shall we?
Let's go and talk about
I
September.
wanted to say this as a segue. Can I just say this? Well, one thing you can know is that Jeremy won't have an invitation to your birthday. I mean, to your party. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
You promised him the master suite. You promised
Well,
him the master suite.
yeah, I said he could stay in my bed. That's how much I loved him. He betrayed me.
I'll sleep on the bench patch.
You can have the double bed, Jared. I'll sleep on the floor, man. I love you, man.
Yeah.
It's just to switch gears a little bit. I was talking to Austin Whitsitt. Messaged me on Telegram yesterday, just out of the blue, and he's doing an online conference. And he said, "Oh, would you like to play a few songs?" I said, yeah, sure, man. I said, "Oh, while I've got you here, I'm having a party at my place in September in Spain. You'll be really popular. I'd love it if you could come out." I said, "I know it's far. I know it's expensive." And to my surprise, he went, "Oh, dude, I'd love to come, man." And I showed him the area and went, "Oh, man, that looks incredible. I've never been to Europe before. I'd love to come." So, he's on the guest list. Whether he comes or not, it'll be epic if he absolutely does. So yeah, he's another one on the guest list. That'd be so cool if he comes.
That would be cool. That would be very, very cool. And maybe you could give him the master room now. Before we get on to talking about that, I just wanted to quickly say hello to the chat room a little bit because we've completely ignored them. And Truth Tour UK says bonjour from Lucy and John, and that's Lucy and John in France who very kindly joined us on the Globe Light Tour in 2019, took the team out for a pizza or a meal somewhere in France. Well, do you remember where? Yeah, you do remember. Something with a B, maybe. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's. But so that they are
Spain
also.
will remember.
They are keen. Oh yeah, we scored some weed that night. Oh yeah.
You're getting lost.
Okay, so
in the weeds.
yeah, so they were going to be coming to your party, by the way.
Yeah, they live in France and they're going to be cycling.
Yeah, cycling down there.
They're cycling down.
Singeman's,
Wow.
nice to see you, mate. Maria Walker, hi. Jollyman says, "Hey, realists, listen to Jaron now has to be a reason, question mark. I've gotten myself into a mess I can't get out of. Crypto stitch up. Did you see Lemon he hung? Oh, I didn't know about that. A yen lemon. I don't know. Okay, enough about that anyway. Hi, Kathy Broughton, and Mark Swarbrick is here, and and Emily Liu. And Indy B says, this is a little bit of a contentious one about David Weiss being, saying you shill. But I mean, David Weiss has been, pretty amazing.
Can I say that I've met Deb Weiss, and I think I'm a fairly good judge of character, and I find him a really fun guy.
Yeah, pretty real to me.
So and like until I know otherwise, that's what my feeling is.
I thought I wouldn't just pass over that comment, but thanks for that. Thanks for your thumbs up and your ears. And we don't have Hippie Shake sharing our link for the Patreon. But anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about September 20th, 19th and 20th.
It's starting to build up the energy, I feel.
It really is. It really is. I mean, the more I'm not spreading it about too publicly, but at the moment, Mike Wilkerson, aka Stellium7, is currently at Confluence, and he's surrounded at the moment, by a bunch of legends. And I said, because I trust him, I said, just invite who you want, because there's just a bunch of awesome legends there. So he's invited a ton of people, and he's going to let me know who are definitely coming. But I've written down a guest list now, and that guest list is getting bigger and bigger. And when I look at it, and I look at all the people who's confirmed, like Steve Young, obviously Stellium 7, Andrew Kaufman, Dawn Lester, and some of your friends who I know who are big support of mine, and Ian Leahy, some of the people that go to the Flat Earth Social. And I mean, I'll have to get the guest stuff, but it's just looking epic at this point, especially adding Whitsitt to the list, and it's just like, oh my god, this my little Spanish villa is going to be filled with absolute legends. It's going to be such a great conversation. It's almost like the music is going to get in the way. It's actually a dream come true for me, because I get invited to conferences all over the world, and I always say no because of, like some visa issues, and I really hate traveling anyway. So like, I always wanted all of these people that I love and respect to come to me. Like, why don't you come to my house? And they're coming to my house in September. It's like, oh, this is going to be so cool. I'm going to be like a little child. It's going to be so excited, and I really can't wait.
Awesome.
So Dave and I booked our accommodation. So that was kind of the pin in the calendar for that particular weekend. Obviously, we'll be there. We hope to be there beforehand, and we've been lucky enough to go and come and see you and spend time with you a couple of times, and really just it feels like family for us, and the area is just beautiful, and it's such a good time of the year because you kind of got the mad rush that's finished.
It's perfect. The weather's perfect as well. Like late September, it's just like, it's not too hot. Like the last 2 weeks of July and the first 2 weeks of August are just unbearable. And then towards the end of August and then into September, we'll have loads of rain. And then towards the end of September, the sun comes out again. It's just like, it'll be absolutely perfect timing. So I've been very busy, like even at this stage, getting the place ready. I've done so many like home improvements because the place is just getting a little bit tired. Paint's flicking, like just falling off the walls and stuff, and like wooden doors are all flaky and that. So I'm just like making it like look as really nice as possible. And yeah, and I'm a little bit nervous because everybody's going to want me to play a few songs. So I'm thinking, oh god, what songs am I going to do? And I haven't even got a PA system, so I bought a PA system. I actually bought some congas as well, so if we can have some percussive stuff there as well. So we hopefully get a jam session going. So I'm definitely committed. That's for sure.
Wow,
Fully.
We're very excited, and I know we've spoken to others who
well, Dean and Sarah, who were in the chat earlier, they're obviously friends from the street activism and whatnot. They're really excited to come. I've got a few other friends who I haven't mentioned now, but who are keen to come. So yeah, it's shaping up to be a really fun weekend. And for people who don't know yet, it's really 2 full days at Alex's mansion. His playing.
Oh, no, whoa! Let me stop you there.
The swimming pool.
I think people are going to be under the impression that I do have a mansion and it's going to be big grounds and a marquee and it's going to be this huge party. No, it's not. I've got a little 3-bedroom villa in Spain. I've got a little outside area. There's probably going to be about 50 people, 50 legends. And I've got a little outside space, and we'll have some, live music, a bit of, it won't be like a full band or anything. It'll just be, me and Franz. Franz is coming as well. We're going to play some songs on the acoustic guitar. It'll be very low key, very chilled. In fact, what I'm going to do, I've decided, is I'm going to create a web page on my website. It won't be publicly available, but it'll be accessible through a private link, which will just, explain what's going to be going on, what to expect. The kind of food that's available, drink, and what's going to go on. And I might make a little video and just a little tour around the house, so people are not expecting a mansion and a big marquee and all of that sort of stuff.
I can honestly tell you that it's not a mansion, but it's
Stunning
it's
views,
beautiful.
it's
It's beautiful,
perfect,
and more importantly,
environment.
Shelley has got a really loving home, and you can feel that energy when you enter there. And it's always felt very welcoming, and you guys are incredible hosts.
Yeah.
So
it'll be absolutely perfect. It's designed. It's meant to happen. It's meant to happen at your place. Everything is perfect. The place is perfect. The people that will be there, perfect.
It really will be.
You know,
It really
and
will be.
if I hope that you go, damn, this was a real winner, you know. But next time we'll need a bit more space, and we find a bit more space next time around, right? So
Yeah, we'll see how whether I do it every year. I don't know. It might be something that turns into a year. I don't know, but we'll have to see. You know, at the moment, it's just thinking about it. It's like, and getting everything ready, even at this stage. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to have all of these people here, all of these legends. It's got to be, the place has got to be perfect, of course, and you know, and I've got to perform to perfection, and blah blah blah. And
no.
Let me tell you.
no, I know, but
No.
If it's
Don't do that.
if it's anything like the gatherings that we've been to, then it's going to be perfect.
And then just, you know what, actually, Alex, is because when it's chilled, it's perfect. And when you you know what, I just need to be me. I just need to turn up.
Yeah.
Me.
It's very tough for me, like, because this is why I hate performing, or you know, I would much prefer, like, you know, not make an announcement. Like, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Conspiracy Music Guru is going to make us up. Blah, 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 blah. It's just going to be me and Fran sitting down on the ledge, like there'll be no, you know, there'll just be a mic.
You know what I
when
think?
it feels
I
right.
think you should get Dave to sing first, and then you can sing.
I'll break the ice. Yeah.
To set the level, to set the level, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Just let him do a full of.
What I also thought of doing is, instead of having a bar and charging people for drinks and that, which I'm actually quite uncomfortable doing, because there's so many people that are coming from so far away, and for me to go, you want a drink? That's $5. You want a burger? $5. I don't feel that's right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to supply all of the beer, wine. So it's going to be beer, free food, free red wine and free white wine. But what I'll do is I'll put if you think this is a good idea, I do. I'll put a little donation. I'll have a couple little donation buckets and say, hey, if you'd like to contribute to the cost of the beer and the food, please give generously. And I think people will. I think you'll actually probably work out better enough. As long as we can get the costs covered, then I'll be ecstatic.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
But people don't know that I'll be doing the cooking, right? That's part of the deal.
Well, then in that case, you'll have to pay them to eat it, I'm sure.
So it's going to be a bit of a meat.
We need to, on that respect, we need to work out who is going to be meat eaters, who are vegetarians, who are vegans, and just get a rough idea so we know what to purchase. You know, we'll get the unvaccinated burgers, of course. We need to find out who are the meat eaters and who are the vegetarians and vegans. So that would be.
Don't you still have a veggie garden? You can just send the veggies around the side. They can.
We don't. Well, we're predominantly keto now, so we we had a whole garden, as you know, like we're growing so much stuff, but realise why are we growing all this stuff? Because we don't eat it. We're eating animals now.
Yeah. Well, we're the same.
We're fairly keto, I guess.
You're fairly keto. I'm keto.
Right. I'm part-time keto. But then
it's really hard to get rid of the bread and the grain, because I love a bit of bread, but. You know, I must admit that we've been doing it for how long? Like the keto, like strictly for a couple of weeks now. Yeah, this is live. Yes, she's just snuck in.
Shelley, lovely not to see you
on camera, because you know how shy she is. There she is.
Yay. Lovely to see you.
Get off!
She's got to go and tend to her cats. Hi. Nice to see you.
He's such a wind-up.
Look how self-conscious she is. Like, no, it's just live. I don't want to. But anyway, we've been keto for what, couple of 3 weeks, and
we did it before.
We did it before, but we're not this strictly, though, did we?
Yeah, it seems to work. So
we'll find out. We love experimenting. We've been vegetarian, we've been carnivore, we've been vegan, we've been everything. You know, we've got to keep the body guessing. Keep it guessing.
Well, I've been doing it since October last year. And actually the reason I took it up is because I had symptoms that were that I couldn't explain, and so the research I did was that this protocol would, and within 3 weeks of being on it, all those symptoms were gone.
There you go.
So I've just stuck with it. You know, sometimes I let it slip, and of course with keto then you kind of have to start again, but you know, you've also got to live. So now and again if there's been a birthday or we've been out or we're at someone's house who's not, made a keto friendly, then I'm not.
Yeah, we can roll with it.
Yeah, you can't be a nun, can you? You can't be, we've got the family coming over in a few weeks. It's Shelley's dad's 80th birthday, and they're coming over for a few weeks with the whole family. Like, there's about 10 of them coming over, and we're going to be going out for meals, and there's no way I'm going to be like, no to the bread. No, you're at a curry house and you say no to the rice, and it's just like, you got to live a little bit, but
what's interesting? What's interesting that when you've been off it for a while and then you take it, you find that it's a little bit like booze. If you haven't drunk for a few months and then you take a few drinks, you go, oh damn, that's hit me a lot harder than I expected. Well, the same is true with the breads and stuff. Is that tomorrow you wake up and you go, ooh, I feel a little uncomfortable because of that, and you go, okay, well, I'm going to straight the ship, you know what I mean? And it's only going to take me one day or a couple of days and I'm back on track, which is different to, it's the same with the anger thing. It's like, oh, I see the anger, there it is. I'm going to work through that and I'm going to allow it and I'm going to be okay with it. And then I'm going to move on and tomorrow is going to be fine, kind of thing,
Yeah.
So I think, the human body is an incredible, device and it has such, healing potential.
Also fundamentally flawed, may I add.
Yes.
Well,
Perfectly imperfect is like I like to say. We're perfectly imperfect, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and we're meant to enjoy ourselves, So to be, I've always said this, to be Puritan in any form is a form of extremism.
Yeah.
We need to take ideally a more kind of middle path. And so with the eating thing, I think maybe more seasonally. So like maybe there's a certain time of the year, say winter, spring, where maybe meat is more necessary than say in the summertime, where you don't really want too heavy a meal. But
well, I have another theory about people who are more inclined towards meat and people are more inclined towards vegan, is that in your charts you have the elements. You have earth, air, fire, and I can't think of the other, water. And people who don't have a lot of earth, they're looking for that more dense nourishment to make them feel more grounded. That's a theory. I haven't got anything to substantiate it. And then obviously people who have got too much earth, they want more the lighter foods to kind of. So I tend to these days say, you know what, do what works for you. Do what works for you, and and if you see that it's not working for your body or whatever, then don't do it anymore.
Yeah. It's that simple, isn't it? We got a book which I haven't really read, but I understand the concept of it. It's called Eat Right for Your Blood Type. And I sort of browsed through it a little bit, and according to my blood type, which is O positive, I should be eating more red meat, which kind of makes sense because when I was a vegan, I was like standing up and getting dizzy and shit. I mean, some people can thrive on a vegan diet. There's no doubt. I guess it could be down to blood type.
I'm the same as you. I didn't. Yeah. So I think I might have read that many years ago, and so it has always been in my mind. Dean asks if there will be nibbles. Singeman says there'll be flat snackers. So yeah,
there'll be unvaccinated burgers, there'll be nibbles and
flatbread.
What I think I'll do is to try and encourage people to there's going to be free beer, there's going to be free wine, there's going to be free burgers and nibbles and water and salads and that kind of thing and nibbles and nuts and things. But if tequila is your preference or gin and tonic or whatever, then bring a bottle, share it around. Let's do some tequila shots. Bring it along. But I'll be supplying all of the beer and
all right, yeah,
wine and that. So, but if you want anything else, then please bring it along.
Squirrel says just say bring a bottle or two. And I think, if someone's got some particular thing that they like other than the wine and beer, but that's, it's a nice thing.
I think what we also want to encourage people to do is to, as soon as they can, I know we're only in May and it's in September, but from my point of view, when I've been looking at accommodation, it is actually still quite a popular time in your area for people who have not got children. So the accommodation is not
super abundant,
or especially more on the budget end. Obviously, if you're willing to pay all sorts of money, then there's still stuff available. So from an accommodation point of view, that you want to get on it, but also just so we can start to know what the numbers are like, and obviously you're going to have to cap it. So if we start to get like, there are so many people. So being able
Apparently,
to
yeah.
confirm that you're actually coming.
I think
would
if we cap it, then as Jollyman says, McToon and Dave McKeegan should probably be the first two that we say, I'm sorry, this time we're not going to be able to allow you to come as much.
I
as
would welcome them. I want McToon to be there. I want Simon Dan to be there. Obviously, Duffy. I would welcome him with open. Of course, I don't even say that. No, of course. I mean, what I'm going to do, hopefully, if Andrea doesn't mind, taking on the role of like concierge for the first hour or so, is like we've got a couple of walkie-talkies. Perhaps if Andrea could stay on the door, because what I think we'll have 3 cars. We'll have 3 cars. So if I get everybody to sort of meet at in the port, we can send Shelley, Mike, and yourself with a car to go and do maybe a couple of trips. And Andrea perhaps on the door with a walkie-talkie. I've got a couple of walkie-talkies with a guest list. And just cross off the names as they come in. I think, that would be... I mean, I'm not worried that any dickheads will turn up, because if they do, then God forbid what's going to happen. But I really don't think that's going to happen. I'm actually...
and also, and we're not going to be telling people exactly where you live until the day...
Till the last... and it's invite only. And to be honest with you, I don't live in fear of that at all. I've really, I've come on leaps and bounds with worrying like if people know where I live, like so what, Mark Sargent puts his whole fucking his name and address out there, he's everybody knows where he lives. It's just like it's silly really to live in that kind of fear.
Generally
totally.
these people who make the threats online are only strong on the keyboard. When it comes to facing you down in reality, then what happens is they typically get angry and run away, and I've had them in the street many a time, and particularly in the last few years as people have become more aware of the anti-flat earth kind of rhetoric, so I think no, that's obviously I'm in the same page as you. That's not a problem. That's not going to be a problem. And although you have filled in the pool, so it's a shame if some of them did.
Hold on, you haven't seen what I've done with the pond. The pond is now the mini pool now, so there's a little dip pool that we've got there. I'm going to make a little video and just show people what to expect and show
if
people.
If you're not growing veg, then that whole area behind there is changed.
Yeah, I'll have to make you a little bit.
Yeah,
it just looks like a gorgeous country garden now with lots of flowers. It's just gorgeous. We've done so much. We've got rid of all of the containers now, and all the little areas where we were growing before it. It's just floral and jungle looking. It's just gorgeous. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. So I'll like I say, I'll make a little web page on my website, and with a little short video of showing people the location and the views and the event and what people can expect, and encourage people to bring a bottle and just have some fun. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I know it's quite far away, but actually it's not really.
It's really not. It's really not, because obviously for us we're kind of like booking in all our next steps, and it really isn't that far away for us.
No, it feels quite close, but as I said, we'll be there a few days before, and help you with the setup and all of that sort of practical stuff. And if you can do that concierge element, and I'm happy to do some driving and pick people up from the port. I had also wanted to, Howard and I have been missing each other, but I was trying to call him to arrange to maybe do some street activism down at the beach at Arenal on a Friday afternoon, and then use that as like a gathering point for people who are coming to town, who are arriving on the Friday, or they may have arrived on the Thursday. It will give them a place to come and hang out, chat with us fellow folks, and maybe even join in doing some activism. And Dean and Sarah are amped for that, I think, and they will probably do a few conspiracy music covers down there with a little mic speaker and whatnot, a little this and that. So we'll that's what I know you were busy on, probably busy on the Friday, but that's what I would like to offer as a segue or this is our first kind of getting together, so we can have
absolutely, a little warm up. And again, on the Saturday morning, I think we should just let people, sort their own breakfast out, encourage people to have breakfast and, fill their bellies.
Yeah.
And then there should be a meeting point, which I've got a really good idea for a meeting point, about probably best to meet there about 11 a.m. Then by the time we get all the cars organised, and then they can come, they'll get back here by about midday, I would say. And then we've got the whole day, and then we'll do the same again probably on the Sunday. And while I think of it, what I thought of doing is like having kind of like an open mic. So instead of like forcing or encouraging people to do like presentations, I mean, I've been to many conferences before where people are really not interested in the presentations. Most of the people are outside in the hall or in the car park because they just love being around like-minded people. So presentations for me is off the list. But what I would probably do is have an open mic. So, people like, just to pick a name, Andrew Kaufman, if he's got any events coming up, he can grab the mic and say, can I have your attention, please? This is what I got coming up, and announce anything they've got going on, rather than going, ladies and gentlemen, can everybody be quiet? We're going to have a 45-minute presentation on flat Earth, which, we don't need that, I don't think. So I just think rather than doing that, and getting Stellium 7 to do a presentation on the big trees and everything, we are just going to gather, and we're just going to be around like-minded people. We have a bloody good time, and there's an open mic there. Anyone wants to grab it, they can, make an announcement or a little speech or a Q&A or an ask me anything kind of thing, if the moment arises.
I like that.
I like that.
And again, there's very little pressure, and we just allow the day to flow. At this point in the day, it feels like I've done enough chatting. I want to do some playing, or whatever the thing may be. I think that makes a lot of sense. And so really, if we had to sort of encapsulate it, we've got 2 days, the Saturday and the Sunday, from about midday, by the time we get to ferry people and whatnot, from about midday to midnight or whatever. I don't know what the deal is there with noise and stuff, but I'm sure we can go on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the deal is really, you can make as much noise as you want in the daytime. I'll probably cap the noise at about 10 o'clock, and then we'll sort of bring the levels down a little bit and just have some background music, and people are welcome to stay as long as as long as I'm there, I guess. I mean, I don't know, we'll see how long I can go, but I'm pretty good with drinking, so I'll be good.
Well, we are actually, our accommodation, we booked, this is not the before bit, because we're obviously going to go stay somewhere separate, but it's from the Thursday till the Tuesday. Just so those days that fall either side, we amongst ourselves can obviously also make arrangements to go to the beach, or maybe Stellium would like to take some people on a walking tour, maybe.
Yeah, he spoke to me today about that. He wants to take everyone up to the eye of the Mungo. He was thinking about doing that Sunday morning, but I don't think that's a good idea to do it, because we want people here.
Yes,
maybe Monday morning would be
Monday morning makes more sense. It's a good way to work off a hangover. And I think they're not putting people under the pressure of time, of getting up early and what have you.
Especially if they've already had
the heavy night.
Exactly. So
there's going to be a few people that just arrive on the Friday and go on the Monday, but there are people that are arriving on the Wednesday and they're staying for a week. So there'll be, a little bit of bleed there, so that we can play with.
Exactly. So and of course, you guys live there, but the beaches are awesome. It's just a really nice place to take some time out. If you haven't got a holiday planned and you can combine it with this event, then
that's what I would say. I would say, if you're going to go on holiday, holiday in Spain, and just, by the way, whilst you're on holiday, why don't you turn up at my place and we'll have some fun? So come holiday in Spain. I mean,
this is Costa Blanca, right? If someone was to kind of, you call yourselves Costa Blanca there.
Yeah.
Well, it's northern Costa, it's northern Alicante. Javier is the name of the place, and it's known as the Pearl of the Costa Blanca for good reason. It's just absolutely stunning. So it's basically the most northern part of the Costa Blanca, the most northern part of Alicante before you get to the borders of Valencia. And the closest airport would be Alicante, which is about an hour and 15 from me, or Valencia airport is about an hour and a half. half, I think, maybe hour and 20. So we're smack bang in the middle of Alicante Airport and Valencia Airport, but it is absolutely stunning here. There's a reason why I moved here. When I came on holiday here in 2007, I think we went to Maria, didn't we? I just was absolutely I was like, this place is stunning, because I always thought Spain was Benidorm, right? Benidorm. That was my idea of Spain. But then I saw Javier, I was like, oh my God, what a jewel. And then we just bit the bullet and said, well, let's just rent a place there and see if it resonates with us. And we rented for 6 months or a year, something. And we were like, screw this, we've got to live here. So we sold the place in the UK and then bought this place for, we had this tiny little 3-bed semi-detached house in Braintree in Essex, and we sold that and we bought this magnificent place. It's just like, there's no comparison for me. There's absolutely no comparison. And the weather obviously is a big draw. It's like 320 days of sunshine a year. It's like, what's not to like? And weed is legal. The beer and the wine is incredible. It's all cheap. The food is cheap. Like, what's not to like?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it's a good call, man. And for me, if South Africa wasn't so much in my blood, I think Spain would be probably my second choice.
I still have
We dream about having a little bolt hole here and a bolt hole there, and I guess that part of Spain certainly ticks a box for that. It's beautiful. So
there's a reason why there's so many expats here, not just English, but German and Dutch and French, and there's a massive cosmopolitan community here, and there's a reason for that. It's just stunning. And when we bought here 10 years ago, we were very lucky. Well, one, we were a lot richer then, and the place was a lot cheaper. Everything's reversed now. We're a lot poorer. The property is way more expensive because everybody wants to live here. It's just that little jewel, isn't it? It's just so stunning. So we were very lucky to come here at the right time. I mean, I'm sure the property market is going to crash. Everything's a wave, isn't it? The financial market, the property market does this, and we're right at the top of it at the moment. It's going to come crashing down again. So, but I don't regret the decision for a second. It's had its challenges, obviously. What about you, Shelley? You want to pipe in on that, or you want to stay silent?
I like to sit here.
She likes to sit.
I would like Andrea to send me a WhatsApp though, because I've lost her number.
I will definitely do that, Shelley.
I have a new phone. And I lost your number, so I have no contact with you. So
Okay.
yeah, you guys do need to start.
Yeah, I definitely do that.
A line of chat on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Dean asked if there was a campsite nearby. There will be.
The campsite, yeah. There's a few. There's one in Javier. There's one actually. It's like 5 minutes. There's a couple. Yeah. I mean, you just have to type in Javier. Is spelled Javea. Javier, Alicante. Just type that into Google and look how stunning the area is, and then type in Javier, Alicante campsites or whatever, or motorhome sites. There's a few, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, those rocks there are absolutely special, and I think if it's possible that these things were once living, whether it's trees, beasts or something, I think that they carry a resonance, an energy, and there's something to that. I remember on the Globe Light tour when we stopped at Howard's place for those few days, we'd been 2-3 weeks or whatever. It was solidly like in the camper van. It was just full on, and we sort of got out in the morning. And I opened the door of the camper van, and there were these beautiful mountains just receiving a sun, reflecting off it. It wasn't white like the moon, funny enough, which is funny because the moon's obviously a rock. And anyway, and I said to Andrew, I said, this is what it, like this feels like home, with the energy of those rocks was just, palpable.
That's the feeling I had when I saw that landscape. When I just saw that, it was incredible. When I saw the green and I just saw it was like, I still can't quite believe. And that view I get you've seen the view from my place. I get that on a daily basis, and I never get, what's the word, complacent with that. It's just like, I feel very blessed. And of course now, like my landscape has changed in the way that I look at it because of what Stellium has been putting forward with his research. I don't see mountains anymore. I see 4 Titans. I'm like, you bastard. It was like this. Everything's changed for me now. So I see everything from a completely different perspective. But it is absolutely stunningly beautiful, and I only have to walk out into my naya or onto my terrace there just to see that mountainous green. It's just gorgeous. And you contrast that with Essex.
Yeah. And it's nice and quiet.
There are some beautiful places in Essex.
England is beautiful.
It is when the sun shines.
Sunshine.
But, you know, even the beaches, the beaches are not, you can't compare. There's just so many things that you go, wow. I mean, I'm not, because we're staying in a really beautiful place in part of England at the moment.
But the sun is shining.
And the sun is shining, so that really does.
That makes for me personally, that makes all the difference. You could be in the most beautiful, in the beautiful countryside, and and it's pissing down with rain, and it's like foggy, and well, go back to England then.
You know what though? To be fair, I agree with Shirley too. I like that for however long winter's meant to be, because actually I quite like the log fire and when the rays raining outside. But the problem is,
I get it.
It's 8 months of the year. It's the opposite to what South Africa or Spain is that you spend a lot of time. I mean, we've had a few consecutive days, so it's felt really wonderful to have the doors open and to get some sun on your skin, and although it doesn't look like it, Dave differently because he's working outside at the moment, but it's that lack of sunshine and the lack of the seasons. And every year, the Brits hope that it's going to be different. I even hear them joking. They're saying when we have the nice weather, well, maybe this is summer and then it's going to be over. So I think it's just how it's too much of it. It's not that we all like a bit of rain and whatever, but not all the time.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, we don't get enough rain. That's my issue. We don't get enough rain here. It's beautiful, like lovely sunshine, but a little bit more rain would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're very different from our lineage. Obviously, looking at our skin tones, like you clearly are from a very warm climate. I need the sun.
Yeah.
There's a connection.
I love it when it rains.
I do, but not every day for years.
Yeah, we do get some pretty grim weather here, and I know exactly because grew up in South Africa. This is not the same.
Well, that's why we are trying to create a life where we can decide where we want to be.
More with seasons, And we're coming to Spain in September, and we're really looking forward to it.
Really excited.
I can't wait, mate. I can't wait. I'm really excited about this whole thing. It's just I can't wait. I'm making improvements to the property now. Like I'm walking around and I'm looking. I go, oh, look at the state of that wall. That needs a fresh coat of paint. So I'm supposed to be working on my new solfeggio album, but that's taken a back seat now. I'm just looking at all of the things around the property that need, because I'm quite house proud, and I just want. I don't know. It's just like.
You've got some legends coming around, as they say, and
exactly. I don't want them to think I live in a shithole.
That's right.
You don't live in a shithole.
That's right.
You certainly don't. But it's nice to be able to just kind of freshen things up, and
of course, I know I don't live in a shithole, but it's actually nice to like, oh, look at that door. That's looking really tired. That could do with it. It would just be nice to show people. Look, I've done so much work. You won't recognize. Well, you will recognize.
Must be sitting there.
Do you know what?
Going,
there's a little joke where this woman says, "I don't need to tidy. I just need my mother-in-law to come and visit because then she tidies."
Yeah.
So this is your incentive, but then you guys get to have a nicely, freshly painted.
Yeah, when your in-laws
place.
come, they'll be looking a little bit more shape and whatnot. That's what Maria Walker says. She'd love to hike that elephant mountain if I ever got to Spain. Well, if you came along to Alex's thing, Stellium is offering, it seems, to take you.
Yeah, Mike would love to take you up there and show you around and show you all the anatomical correlations between. Well, he will take you up to the eyeball of the elephant, and he could spend a good hour there explaining all the anatomical correlations between an elephant's eye and what you're seeing right in front of you, and it's undeniable in my mind.
I might try and get on that trip as well. And then she asked, did you guys have a power out in Spain along with Portugal recently?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yes.
24 hours.
Well, no, it was only 12 hours where we were. Well, in some parts, we're here. It was 12 hours. The electricity went out. Well, we were okay because we got solar, so we didn't lose power. But we did lose. We lost internet, so we didn't have internet for 12 hours, which was quite really nice, actually. But yeah, everyone else was panicking, and everyone else was losing their shit. They were panicking, like, "Oh my god, this is the end of the world." But we were actually pretty cool with it. We were smug with our solar panels. We go, like, you know that meme where the elite are looking down on the plebs. That's how we felt with our solar panels.
Yes, no doubt.
Well, I mean, I think this is the preparedness. Is that how you say it? Preparedness.
Yeah,
preparedness, rather than you know, the what do you call the other one? The
not preparedness.
Doomsday hunters or
the
doomsday preppers. Instead of doomsday prepper, it's preparedness, where you know you're prepared for these kind of eventualities. So that's what we like about South Africa, actually, is that because they've had such hardship, you know, when it comes to electricity and whatever, they generally all either know how to handle not having electricity or they've made provisions for it. So, yeah, I think we all need to, and also.
I mean, what's really if you zoom out, the idea or the fact that they can flick a switch and that whole entire peninsula goes good night. That you can't tell me that's a weather event. That's what they're purporting. Like it was some kind of crazy weather event. No, it's not. It's a bunch of well-organized Freemasons at power places going, "You ready? 3, 2, 1, flick the switch. Let's see what happens." That's what it is in my mind. There's no way that's
everyone did
like a cyber attack. Yeah, let's see how. Everyone freaked out. We didn't, but everyone was freaking out. Well, if you can imagine what's going on in Barcelona or in the cities where all the traffic lights are out and all the trains, everything, everyone's like losing their shit. So yeah, I think that was definitely some kind of experiment.
But you know what, also, it's an opportunity for people to go, wow, how dependent am I on the system? How much
how resilient am I?
And if those things get taken away from me, how do I respond to it?
It made us realise how independent we were on the system, because we coped really well with it, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we've got no internet for a day. Let's talk to each other for a day. let's just.
It was a nightmare.
You would say that. Oh, Shelley.
It was only 12 hours. It felt like 36.
Oh, silly, go on.
I think Shelley's the resilient one. I just think that it just shows us that what would we do if they did that, you know? And also, yes, how much
they obviously can do it, can't they? I mean, they can do it. They just did it.
Yeah. I think people like us though would deal with it. We would find a way to deal with it.
Well, the thing is, like, we've lost the fear of that, because we know, like, I fasted for 2 weeks, right? No food, just water for 2 weeks. So if the shit, I know I can survive. That's a really good test, and you've done it for a week. Yeah. So you know, and let's not forget that.
Die after 3 days, like they tell you on the internet.
Yeah, and we know that we're surrounded by, you know, olive trees and lemon trees and oranges, and there's it's just like, so we've really lost that fear of like, oh my god, if the grid goes down, what are we going to do? We'll be like, we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. I don't think that they would ever allow it to be down for too long, because they need those systems. They need us to be hooked up to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's never going to be for too.
But they would lose control of the streets.
I mean, it's a bit like the toilet roll, the whole toilet roll thing back in those 4 years ago, where everybody was completely freaked out that they were buying like 50 toilet rolls because all of a sudden there was none. You know. What would we do if we didn't have toilet rolls? Well, I'd
be buying guitar strings, for fuck's sake.
Oh, I'd say that'd be a little bit uncomfortable, and they're all rusty.
I know to wipe my arse, mate. Come on. I've got a shower for that, mate. I mean, toilet roll, of all of the things to panic about, toilet roll, I mean, what a psyop. What a brilliant psyop. They're laughing at us at this point, aren't they?
Yeah. Boston Ray Mudflood Adventure says, can I sleep on your couch with you? With you. I don't know who he's asking he'd like to sleep on a couch with. Pick anyone you like from this list.
Maybe to Shelley, because she's on the couch.
Well, I guess if Jay is not coming.
Hey, every man has his price, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that this banter that we're having, this is the kind of fun conversation. I mean, obviously you can have some more serious conspiracy conversations, but
well, and we'll obviously be having more backroom conversations, planning the finer points once you finish renovating the mansion.
Guru Towers, yeah.
Yeah, Guru Towers, that's it. And then I know that's really exciting. We will obviously, if you make your video, we will play it here because we have a huge audience, and so.
Yeah, I noticed that, when I spread the link around on my social media, that we got hundreds more people, because I've got a following like of 150,000 people with all of my social media combined. Wow. So I'm so glad that all those 150,000 people turned up here tonight. Thank you so much, censorship.
We've been overwhelmed. That's why my mic and all that failed, because there's so many people in the chat. All right, well, I think that's probably covered the most important things for tonight.
Just obviously, if people are interested to either get in touch with Alex or us, and the sooner you can confirm, the better.
It's that third weekend or whatever, 19th, and it happens to be a an eclipse. Yeah, it's weekend. An eclipse weekend. The second eclipse of two, so they're 2 weeks apart, but it's the second one. I think it's a solar eclipse, if I'm not mistaken. It's the friendlier one of the two. The lunar tends to be a little bit harsher.
Well, it was meant to be then, because that wasn't planned in any way, shape, or form. So it was
not at all.
It fell right into place. So that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's perfect. No, it's perfect as it's meant to be, and I think it'll be an exciting event, and we needn't put any pressure on ourselves, and people will love the opportunity to get together. I think that matters so much more.
That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. It's not the food, the drink, the entertainment, and I think it's just a gathering of like-minded people, and people will thrive. People will have an incredible time just being around all these awesome people.
Yeah.
I think I've obviously been following a little bit of the Confluence stuff online, because I follow a few people who were there, and I think the one thing that seems to have come out of it was the community, the people that came together and were in community together, and how nourishing that was, and how good it felt. And I think that there's been so much fracturing in this community. It'd be really nice for everyone to come together and realize that actually, we're all in this together.
That's a good word, nourishing. I think you wanted to say something, Shelley. Did you?
No, it's boring.
Boring now. Okay.
Yeah. I was only going to say I'm so looking forward to seeing Zizi again.
Oh, he's talking about the cats. You can't wait to see your cats.
Well, there's a few more now. There's a few more to add to his fun.
What does a few more mean? 20?
What does it mean? Sorry.
How many have we got? 20?
Probably more like 30 now.
30.
Ooh, wow.
Loads of them.
Wow.
Alex is just.
It's the pressure to sell more CDs to feed these bastards.
Well, I mean, I understand what it's like.
I love them. They're so entertaining. You just walk around the property and there's one poking behind a little brick wall. There's one in a little bush somewhere looking at you, or I'm working in the garden and one will turn up just out of curiosity looking. I absolutely love them. They're no harm. She's just grabbed one. Why don't you?
At least you won't have mice.
Well, no, look, there's one.
There's no mice. Hello, Black Cat.
Hello.
Who's that?
That's Wally. That's the one we saved. He was attacked by a dog, and we saved him. He's ours.
Nice one.
Oh, it's lovely.
Nice one.
Yeah. But no, on a regular basis, like I'm sitting here on the sofa. There's usually 5 or 6 on the sofa. There's probably one over there. There's probably 2 in the Naya. There's, we have about 10 that come into the house, and I bloody love them. I thought I would say I'd be a cat person because I've been a dog person all my life. I had 2 Cocker Spaniels, and then before that, a dog. I've been a dog man for 45 years, and then all these cats came along, and I just fell in love with them. And I love them as much as I piss and moan about how much they cost. I still love them.
They're supposed to be really good. Have a really good frequency,
Their
right?
energy,
yeah,
their purring
energy,
is
the
meant to
purring.
be good for you.
It's a bit like solfeggio, actually. The purring.
You have it on your chest. It's meant to be quite healthy. The purring.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure it is. Yeah, I've got one cat called Arnie. He was the originator. He's the granddaddy. He's the one that's responsible for all the others, and he's like the most tame. And he'll come and he'll just sit there and he'll just put his face right there and stare at me in the eyes, and he'll like head bump me and do that, and it's just like, dude, I love you, man. It's just and that purring. It's just like, I could when you're sitting there with a joint and a cognac and a cat. Oh, it's the best.
Well, everybody, there's another reason to come and visit.
Yeah.
You're going to get to see the 30.
The guru's found his groove. Well, that's
Yeah,
great.
I'm getting there, mate. It's tough because there's still that thing in your subconscious that we are battling against some kind of spiritual war there, and I still keep my ear to the ground with all the information, as dark as it is.
Me too.
Me
too. Me too. But I can kind of see it from a dispassionate kind of thing. But
totally, I'm getting there now. I'm not so involved in it anymore. I'm zoomed out and I'm looking at it from an outside perspective, and I'm observing it.
Exactly, to be the observer of this stuff, because the masculine role is to know what's, you're looking on the wall and you're seeing the shit that's happening there, and you're just keeping the women folk, informed as to what the state of affairs is generally out there. But I think it's important, but it's not like, it's the same as, if I can quickly reference my Angola war experience, is that, I got to a point where I knew the tanks were coming towards us. Couldn't see them because we were fighting in some forests and stuff, but I know that this is coming, and I know that I have to stay calm and stay, ready, not get like all kind of sweaty about what's going on, because you know what you're involved in. And yes, we are in a spiritual war here. That seems to me clear. The warrior is the man who's calm when he meets the storm. He's in a state of calm, not in a state of panic or like fear or all of these things. And it's good that me too, like the times I've had to encounter fear and will still have fear to best on my journey here, but it's that learning to deal with that, like going and playing for the first time in front of people and what have you, and then a bigger group of people, and then it becomes like more.
Yeah, you've got to have that fight or flight, that adrenaline.
Yeah.
That's there for a reason.
Yeah. But you're not emotionally engaged in it. It's like, okay, so they're pulling this trick this week, or they're still trying to get people to do these things.
Well, I think it's how if you're attached to it, then that's the looshing, right? That's where they are still able to. They're still able to capture you, like when they turned the power off and everybody freaked out. They were still able to keep people in that. Oh my goodness, I need someone to save us. I need someone to, instead of remaining calm, knowing that either you'll find a solution, or in the fullness of time they're going to switch it on. So
it's lovely to have that zoomed out perspective of everything's going to be okay. I've got this. I don't fear this. That's a nice position to be in.
Yeah.
I'm there. Shelley has a little bit more work to do on that. Would you agree? Just to when shit hits the fan, right? Just to observe it and see that everything's going to be okay, rather than keep being so engrossed. Rather than losing your shit, which is what you tend to do a little bit more than I do.
Well, can I offer a different perspective on that? Because actually, as the masculine and the feminine, and there's a good analogy that I heard recently, is that the male, who's the protector and the provider, acts as the harbor, and the woman is the ship. And often when the storm is that the man remains the masculine, and we have this within ourselves as well, which is the work that Shelley and I need to do about being our own harbour. But when you're in union, that the masculine remains that steady harbour that can allow the storm that's going on, and i.e. whatever Shelley's bringing, but because of your, they talk a lot about in conscious relationships, it's about us being co-regulators with each other, so allowing our nervous systems to regulate off each other, and that's I think one of the ways that when we say protector and provider, that the masculine can offer that to the feminine, that she can kind of surrender, know that her masculine, whether that be your own masculine or your partner, has got you. And it doesn't matter, that it's going to be okay.
I think the more she observes me not giving a shit,
Exactly.
the less she gives a shit. I mean, you have to kind of, would you agree with that? Because I deal with it way better than you. But you can see that I've said to you so many times, there are so many advantages to not giving a shit, and there really are. There really are. But you're not quite there yet, are you?
I think that also the feminine carries a real vulnerability, because actually, I think that naturally the feminine can actually be destroyed by the masculine. The truth is that the masculine could destroy the feminine. So I think there is an inbuilt vulnerability that the feminine carries, and that doesn't mean that we don't learn to be our own container, but obviously. It is about learning to be surrendered, and that does take practice, because it's a whole trust. It's a trust in life, it's a trust in the masculine, it's a trust in your own masculine that actually it's going to work out. You might have to go through a uncomfortable patch, but it's actually going to work out.
As it did 10 years ago.
Let's turn the light on.
And after all that,
Yeah, I know it's going to work out. I know everything's going to work out. I always say, I have no fear. I'm not worried about it. Like we're going through, like at the moment, business is really tough at the moment. Trying to make a living from conspiracy music guru is laughable at the moment. There's no one buying the CDs. Like my website blacklisted, my YouTube channel absolutely censored, Telegram, Instagram, everything is just like totally censored. And we're like,
plus the menopause.
So like we're going, but like I have no fear. I know that we're capable people, we're sensible people. We'll figure that out.
You have that. I have fear. I have the menopause. I have all of these things that are thoughts in my head all the time.
I deal with it way better than you. I'm like, it'll be okay. We're okay. We'll be, because I know in my because we did like every time there's a challenge, we're pretty good at challenges. We've faced a shit ton of challenges. You can't say
that, but my brain doesn't.
I know you just need to know that. Do you know what? Everything's going to be okay. It's like I see it's like a computer game now. It's just like it's another level of the game. Like here we go. Let's meet the big boss at the end. We'll beat the big boss at the end. We always do. We always do. So.
Yeah, how am I to meet this challenge? And it's easier said than done. Like sitting like right now, but obviously we know that. We've had so many offered to us, and
I mean,
we're getting stronger at meeting those.
The thing for me, and obviously I've like thrown myself into this healing modality, and terror has been a big one for that I've had to face, and it's a really difficult emotion to feel, because it generally makes you feel unsafe, and then our natural instinct is to want to find safety. But actually, that's when you're kind of also allowing that terror to be there without giving it any meaning. So for me, that's been a huge learning and being able to allow feelings to be there, and then also starting to change my relationship with life, and that trusting that things do work out, but it does take surrender, and our mind doesn't want to do that. Our mind thinks it has to keep us safe, so it doesn't want to surrender. It's like no.
It's back to that fight or flight, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it does. It's a practice. I think that's it's a practice of every time that thing comes up. Is like, can I lean in rather than trying to run away, fix it, whatever? It's like, can I lean into it and just expand my capacity to be with that situation just a little bit more and a little bit more, and you'll go into contraction again, but then I just practice a little bit more.
Lean into life.
Yeah.
Lean into life and
Agree, totally. I totally agree.
and allow for these experiences to occur. Move through them.
It's all a test. It's all there to test you. You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I use the word.
You can only grow from it, can't you?
Yeah.
You know all these ism words that you come across. I'm sure you can think of one, but terrorism.
Yes.
But terrorism is a word that they use a lot in the media because they want to invoke terror in you. You know.
Yeah, totally.
And fear of this, fear of that, fear of that, and that's obviously why we need to be, like Andrew talks about oscillation. You know, swinging from I was in complete terror, now I'm in complete like whatever. I don't give a shit. I think there is a balance somewhere in the middle of that.
I think the only way is through. And just to mention what Shelley said about menopause, for me, I now see menopause as like, it's like a life review. It's like a life review.
It's pretty cruel though, isn't it? It's a cruel thing.
Well, you could see it as cruel, or it's an opportunity to take everything that was out of alignment in your life and reset it. And it takes time to reset it, and then hey, I've got a second spring, so bring it on. I've got.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously you're looking forward to that because you've heard like rumours that there's going to be this new butterfly that's emerged.
I'm not scared of aging at all.
No, but the transformation I'm talking about from like coming out the tail end of menopause.
For me, the biggest thing is these emotions that I'm going through, and that's tough sometimes.
Yeah, she just bursts into tears for no reason at all, and I go, "What's wrong?" She goes, she says, "I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm just," and that's very, very alien to me because blokes don't just burst.
No, but you know what's so interesting is that a woman is supposed to be emotional, but we were programmed very young to believe we were too much if we were too emotional. But actually, our emotions and our sensitivity is actually our superpower. And I know that it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes you don't want to cry, but what do we make that mean? You know, what do we make crying or being sad or being angry? I mean, rage. I got to deal with rage. Rage is like, oh my goodness me, I've got so much rage. and it's like, how do you move that? Mine's. I have the tears, but mine's the fire. I've got so much fire, and there's so much. There's so much shame around that, and it's like women carry that wound of I'm too much if I have these emotions. But actually,
say that I am embarrassed and uncomfortable with that. When I get like that, I feel uncomfortable and embarrassed. Even around Alex, who I've been with for 20 years, I'm embarrassed and uncomfortable that I'm crying for no reason whatsoever, and I don't know how to deal with that.
Well, I think the only way to deal with it is to just let it pass.
And the embarrassment is part of possibly again I'm talking about childhood stuff, but it's part of a long relationship with that, and your embarrassment of yourself is one of those things that we are here to overcome. It's like, being embarrassed by a physical element of your body, and I'm going to have plastic surgery and all of that kind of thing. Those are the sort of traps that this game loves to hold us in, when I think that, what you don't want to do is to shame yourself for that, because you're only resisting, and what they say, what you resist will persist. So for one, give yourself a little bit of don't perpetuate that sense of embarrassment.
But maybe too, there is actually tears that need to be had, and actually as part of this reset or this kind of opportunity to move through something and come out the other side is about like letting all that stuff go. So, and that's for all of us. That's the masculine, that's the feminine, whatever it might be.
Maria Walker said it passes. I had that crying thing out of nowhere. I feel ya. She also said she's perusing Spain on Google Earth. Amazing stuff to look at, investigate for sure. Wow, when we were there the last time or the time before, we did we went to one of the caves near you guys. I don't know, maybe 20 miles away or something, but the unbelievable cave. You're walking through this cave and going, wow, am I in the esophagus of some creature? It's unbelievable what's inside there.
There's a cave about, where is it, Valdebo. Have you not been there, have you? I've been there 2 or 3 times, and you go in this thing and you get a little guided tour around it for 10 minutes, and you are in the belly of the beast. There's no doubt. Like Mike was like, it was almost like, oh my God, you can imagine what Mike was like. Yeah. It's like with his new eyes. It's just like you got stalactites. Yeah, they're the ones that hang down, aren't they? Yeah. Stalactites hanging down. It's just like it's like being in the stomach of a titan. But I must take you there. You will be blown away. It will blow your mind.
You know the book Dune. You know, you remember the book Dune? Well,
I remember the movie, not the book.
I read all 6 of them, I think, 20 years ago or so. But those beasts, those giant beasts, it kind of makes me think like I'm inside one of those. But yes, I would take you up on that. And Maria, there's so many different things. Oh, Maria Walker says, Mike changed my paradigm. Fantastic.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah, Mike's very good at doing that, especially with the Heartstones as well. He keeps up it. But Payne is absolutely incredible for that kind of for biology.
You did introduce him to flat Earth, right? You did introduce him to flat Earth.
I did, yeah. I did enjoy. I flat smacked him, but he definitely got me back.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, yeah. So that's again one of the little side bonuses of coming to Alex's Bash is that Stellium will be able to take you on a tour and show you his big rock. So.
But we're really excited about it. I can't wait to hang out with you guys and see Shelley.
We'll have you on in a few months' time or whatever.
Yeah, we'll do another. But hopefully by then we'll just be.
We'll just be
sharing. Yeah. The excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it never stops. There's never a dull moment in clown world, is there? So, you know, I'm going to keep on keeping on and making me music. And I've got so much stuff that I'm doing that you're not even aware of. And you're still doing. So I'm always, paying attention to what you're doing. I'm always in your chat. And, I'm a big fan of yours as well, man. I really respect what you do. I love it. I don't know how you fucking do it. I really don't. But then again, you might look at me going, I don't know how you do it. We've all got our...
I wanted to say this earlier when you were talking about, what you had gone through and what you had to kind of let go of. And I honestly can see it in your music. Your music is just amazing at the moment. You're singing from such a different place at the moment.
Thank you. Yeah, you see, Shelley's obviously a fan of it because... I've been through a negative time and I expressed that musically, and now I'm going through a more positive. It's the way I express myself. I don't need a therapist. I need a microphone and an acoustic guitar. And Brands, what a blessing to meet that man. What an absolute legend. And we just met him. I was walking around Denia with Mike, and the guy was just walking towards us, and he pointed at Mike. He recognized Mike from his videos, and we just started.
Wow.
It was incredible. And then Mike said, do you know this guy? And he looked at me and he went, no, he's a Dutchman, big Dutchman. No, I don't know him. And he went, I say, who are you? I said, I'm Conspiracy Music Guru. He went, I know you. And it turns out he plays guitar. So I invited him round. Really well. He plays guitar so well. It's like, so we're on the same page with everything. Like conspiratorially truth. And
he's just lovely as well.
He's lovely. And he plays guitar brilliantly, so I've been spending as much time with him as possible, and that's why we've made 3 songs in the last 2 months, I think.
Yeah, love it.
And he's going back to Holland soon.
It's positive music.
It's all positive music, yeah.
Positive music.
Yeah. Well, the first song we did together, which was called Nothing, and the song is "There's Nothing to Be Worried About," but it wasn't originally. I wouldn't say he's doom and gloom, because I'm not doom and gloom, but we recognise that there's an evil monster in the room, right? We recognise that, but we kind of laugh at it. like Steve Faulkner, like, you know, we all recognise, but we take a step back and we laugh at it. So I said to Franz, I said, and I was introducing him to AI. He'd never seen AI like spit out lyrics before. And I said, okay, let's get some inspiration from AI. And I showed him AI Grok on X. And I said, well, what do you want to make a song about? And he looked at me and went, you know what? There's nothing to be happy about. So I said, okay. So I said to AI, just for fun, I said, please write me a song entitled There's Nothing to Be Happy About. And please make it the most depressing song ever. And please like list about all the terrible things that are going on in the world. And AI spit out this song, which was so depressing, talking about war and bombs and children dying. And it's like, and we read it and it was like so terrible that we laughed. And we said, like, how can we make this song? And we started, you know, we made the song. And I emailed him later that day and I said, dude, we can't do this. I said, why can't we just change it? Instead of there's nothing to be happy about, why don't we change it to there's nothing to be worried about? And then the whole song took on a completely different vibe, even though it brings up topics of, you know, bombs exploding in your face and things like that. And what another win for the human race. Yeah. It kind of lists all these like terrible things, but at the end of the chorus is like, it's okay, man. There's nothing to be worried about. You know, it's all a jester's game. You know, peace is yours to claim. And so we added a lot more positive lyrics to that. And when we saw the reaction to that song was like, do you know what? We should be making more positive things. And then the second song we did together was Wouldn't It Be Nice, which is like a reggae. Wouldn't it be nice if we could come together and everyone unite with peace and love forever? There's no need to fight. And it just became this lovely reggae, beautiful, positive song. And the comments was like, oh, this is what you love it, and this is maybe we should be, you know, more solutions-based music or more uplifting music, you know. So that's. You know, that's the avenue I'm taking currently, rather than, you know, I told you so, and like, you know, you can see that, you know.
Go through them.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and I just express in that way that you know, and you can see that, you know, anyone that's known my music from the start, from Flat Earth Man, doing all of that stuff and waking up to that, there's my whole Flat Earth Awakening in one album, and then going on to more stuff, and it's just like. It's a really wonderful musical record of what I've been through. It's just wonderful to have a record of that.
Yeah, totally.
Now we know the earth is flat. What can we do about it? Well, this is some of the music that offers that kind of, now you know, this is what you can think about, and this is, you know, so I really resonate. We've really resonated with your recent
Yeah, we've been
stuff,
really enjoying it. I have it on in the kitchen when I'm cooking.
Wonderful. I'll have to send you the whole playlist, because I've done so many acoustic numbers now with different people, like Steve and my old friend Gorda, who we're not friends with anymore, another story, and Franz as well. So I've worked with 3 other guys, and I've now collated a little music, an acoustic playlist on my channel. So I'll send you the link to that. So that's just basically, I think it's about 12 tracks there with just me and another guy singing. And I love that laid back, you know, acoustic. Because not a lot of people do that anymore. All music is so overproduced now, and you very rarely see 2 guys with an acoustic guitar just singing or harmonizing with each other. And it's so raw. That's what I love about the acoustic guitar. You can pick it up and it goes anywhere. Perfect campsite, you know, accompaniment. It's just like, and that's what we're going to try and replicate at the party. Couple of guys on acoustic guitar, set of bongos, some tambourines, and just get that real, you know, rather than a rock guitar and a drum kit and a bassist like in your face kind of sound. No, we want it like.
Could sing.
Dave's got the passion, man, for sure. Yeah.
Every now and again I hit the note. Every now and again. Yeah.
You'll have to learn one or two. Find one of my songs that you like, and perhaps you can burst that out while we'll accompany you.
I
love that.
Love to hear.
That's a good idea.
I love that.
We should try that. Just for shits and giggles.
Well, we're gonna be there beforehand, so maybe you can do a little trial run.
Yeah, we're hoping.
Yeah, actually, Franz is going to be here like a week before, because we got to rehearse. Because I want to do a few songs with Franz, because he's just amazing, and I think you're going to love him. He's just this jolly Dutchman. So he's going to be here a few days before, so we're going to be rehearsing. So as well as rehearsing, we're going to be like organising some furniture. So it's going to be the lead up to it. It's going to be quite busy, like moving stuff around and purchasing booze and rehearsing
we'll be here.
and
We'll
getting
be
sound
well,
systems.
we-
there.
you
We'll
can
be
certainly
there.
count
So
on
we
us for a
will
little bit of,
definitely be
yeah.
there to help.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
but we're very excited. I hope everybody in the chat or anybody who's
Yeah,
watching is
yeah.
equally as excited and is thinking of joining.
So I just Daniel Kruger is actually the maker of this T-shirt. He has a hashtag macabre life just macabre life, and this one says, "Can you see the curvature in any picture?" Of course you can't. He's in the chat. He says, "Can I send you a free Flat Earth T-shirt?" I assume he's meaning
To
to
Alex.
you, Alex. So if you want
I would love that if that's directed at me. That's very, very kind of you. But I must warn you that if you're sending stuff to Spain from outside of Europe,
No,
like the
he's
UK,
Portugal.
then
Portugal.
He's Portugal.
Won't get
we
it.
probably won't get it. It will get caught up at customs,
Or we'll have to pay €30 to get
and
it.
then we'd have to drive an hour to go and collect it.
You know what,
It's a nightmare. So I always discourage people, as kind as it is,
Well,
give it to them and they'll bring it. Yeah, that's a good
well,
idea.
actually, Dan, I'm hoping Dan actually will hear the call and join us because he's in Portugal, and it'd be really
Wonderful.
cool. He was another one who met us on that 2019 tour, and then obviously invited us to stay at Merkaba. He has an off-grid project there that he's encouraging people who want to come and experience off-grid life to.
Merkaba Life is on TikTok.
Yeah. So he's doing a whole lot of stuff around that, and so it'd be awesome to have Dan come and to the party, and then maybe you could bring it in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, great, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, please give Dave your address, and I will get it to you. Okay. Well, there you go.
Well, it's been lovely chatting. It's felt like we're just sitting in this. Well, I'd like to say in the same room, but obviously it isn't.
Old times.
But
It has been wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me on, and I can't wait to meet you again in September. See you again, rather. I've been drinking cognac. You see what happens. You see.
Well, we should be. There's a few
We'd
things
like to
up
be
in
there a
but
week
beginning.
before.
Well, sort of beginning of September, but we'll see how that all unfolds.
Oh, great! Yeah. Just keep us posted. You know where I am. I'm not going anywhere. So.
All right. Well, it's been lovely actually having Shelley on. That's been the highlight of my.
Next time prepare Shelley, and she can come and sit directly next to you.
Yeah. See that.
There she is with another cat there.
Shelley, awkward Shelley. Looking forward to seeing Luke as well. Luke.
Oh yeah. We're
He's looking forward to it.
we're all looking forward to coming. Like I said, it feels like we're coming back to family. So.
And we want to go swimming in that warm water there. So that's
Yes.
something I've been missing for years.
Yeah, we should, if you're here for a few days after or whatever, we should, hook up and go to Deves's beach, which is like 20 minutes or 15 minutes north of us. It's the most gorgeous stretch of beach there. There's so much stuff we can do, man. There's so much stuff. So yeah,
Well, we'll definitely try and drag our heels before leaving afterwards. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Well, it's been
Lots
special.
of love.
Lots of love to you too. And send me your number, Andrea. 'Cause
I will do. Take care.
Okay, much love, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. Well, I think we've left that meeting. I just need to go over to here.
We're still in this one.
The dogs.
Someone driving. Are we still here? Oh, hello. Sorry, it's a bit confusing. Dave's just sorting the dogs out. I hope you guys enjoyed that chat. It did feel like we were just having a chat with friends, and obviously the reason we brought Alexander, well, many reasons, but was to try and entice you or invite you, or
because trust me,
encourage
you will never forget the weekend at Alex Michael's place. I think that the opportunities I've had to get together in a group setting with fellow people on this journey have always been extremely memorable. I'm not aware.
And so nourishing, right?
Yeah,
because you fill yourself, your cup up with that connection.
Yeah, and I'm not aware of any meaningful English-speaking flat Earth related thing in Europe.
Well, normally they're larger festivals with maybe a little element, and
even
unfortunately
there we don't really get much of a
we've
look
seen mostly that we get given sort of they try and hide us in the corner.
When we should actually be getting the top billing. It'd be like, these guys are the people you need to hear, you know. If you want the truth, you've got to go through the flat Earth. You can't get to the truth without that, honestly. No matter your religion or whatever. I think if your mind is captured in that system, then how can you be your own mind? And you know, if you're a flat earther, you know that it's a whole, the captivation of this physical, material, globular kind of thing is a whole deep psychology, so deep that even in flat earth we still struggle to move from this physical material realm into this idea of it all being some kind of electromagnetic system, a projection, or a system in which we receive a projection that we encode as the space around us. This is the space that exists.
So can I just quickly, while we're talking about the Earth and the electromagnetic, just quickly give my little astrology forecast. We are 7 days post a very potent Scorpio full moon, and I was wondering how people had been feeling. Obviously, if you have quite a strong Scorpion or some of the fixed signs in your chart, then you probably felt it more than others. But I think generally everybody was feeling, well, certainly in our household, we were feeling in some way, shape or form, and that was quite emotional. In fact, that might be on this occasion, Shelley, why you were feeling so emotional. Scorpio is that sort of that shadowy, deep healing, what's hidden, emotional, watery energy. And there were lots of other energies sort of in aspect to that. So, and of course it was wanting to show what's still, the patterns that are still there that are kind of not in our highest alignment. And this week has been that too. And of course when we go post full moon, then everything's breaking away. So it's an opportunity for release. And then there's another completion point, which is Saturn is now 29 degrees of Pisces, which means it's at a completion degree. So it's been there for 2.5 years. It's at 29 degrees. It wants us to complete something that's been come up for the last 2.5 years, and then it moves into Aries on the 24th, but does retrograde back shortly.
Sarah G says Scorpio rising feels like a powerful shift generating presently.
Well, the energy is so potent at the moment, and of course we have this Pisces completing. I mean, the Saturn completing Pisces, but then there's lots of other things. And today there's something called a Kazemi in astrology, which is the Sun and Uranus and Taurus meet up, and the Sun always like expands that energy, and it's been meeting every year, but this is the last time it's for 7 years, because Uranus also will be moving soon out of Taurus, so you might be feeling some of that energy too, but there's sort of lots of opportunity now to reflect on something and perhaps allow something to be released or to be felt, or to see something, or to make a choice, or to let something go, or whatever the case may be. So there is another week of the sort of moon losing its power, so that release energy. And then of course we'll have a new moon on the 27th in Gemini, and the Sun will also move into Gemini. So
hey Leafy, nice to see you. Says he's Aquarius and feeling so crazily up and down of late.
Well, you've got Pluto in retrograde in Aquarius, so that's Pluto. Pluto's a death and rebirth and transformation energy. So yeah, I'm feeling it too, because I have an opposition in Leo. So yeah, I think that can feel really hard.
Yeah. Well, tonight we had Alex Michael and his lovely wife Shelley from the Wings, and some of their cats, which was awesome. But it's so cool to see Alex so amped about something like this, you know, because he is a talent who should be, I know this weekend is not about him, playing necessarily, but the opportunity to have an informal gathering with people and get the opportunity to play and socialize and do all of these things.
He is so incredible that he is the self-taught musician, but he just sings so beautifully, and obviously you get to hear his music online, obviously, or through his different media choices. But when you hear him in person, it's just it's incredibly
unique, And so I think, been. And I know for some people listening, it's impossible to get there, and bringing a 95-year-old mother along, Maria, would probably not work. Although she might know about flat Earth if we really get talking about it. Anyway, but that so I'm sorry that it's not as accessible to everybody as I would love it to be. But I'm sure we'll record some of the event and what have you. But yeah, I mean, if you can get there and to have the opportunity to get some great musicians playing and socializing and so on, and it's all pretty much for free.
Yeah, except if you've got to travel and accommodation.
Little donation for the.
But of course,
food and drink.
if you can afford to, and we totally get that for some people that's just not. That's out of reach, and. Hopefully there'll be some other ways for people to gather. That's one of the reasons we do this, is so it's an opportunity that we can all come together. And that's why we also encourage people that if you want to, like Alex Michael did tonight, come on Zoom. If you just let us know in advance so we can set up a Zoom call. We can also do it during the session. But, if you want to just come and chat or share, or you would like us to mentor you on something, or you just want to share a little bit of knowledge you have, or you just want to come on and chat, then by all means just let us know. In fact, we like that energy sometimes of the bouncing of someone else, so we encourage you to. Otherwise, if you just want to be in the chat, or you just even want to listen, we hope that you know that we're glad to have you here.
I want to end or close with this, just my thoughts on Maria's comment about if the stars govern and they were the principalities assigned at the table of nations, and Jesus said to overcome. Maybe that is part of what we are here to overcome, that governance too. I mean, one of the things I like, many things I like about the Jesus story is that he was telling people to, not to follow the powers that be, to keep it simple. That's the message that I get from that, and I think, like this, we've spoken about it before, but that the 12 disciples and the 12 zodiacal signs are like 12 disciplines, and the zodiacal signs, each of them give you a certain test. They're all a slice of the cake. But if you think about a clock face, it has 12 points on it, but it has a 13th point at the center, which is obviously the spindle, and that's where Jesus is, and that's where you are. And so I think the 13th, there should be 13, because you are the center piece with the 12 disciplines, disciples, zodiacals, that at the round table, doing their thing, bringing you experiences. So that's my little thoughts on that. I don't know if you'd like to close with anything.
No, just be kind to yourself, and actually I want to encourage people to feel whatever they need to feel, and just give yourself what you need, because often we're so busy in life and we're just trying to survive, and we're making our feelings mean something. But sometimes whether it be move your body because you feel some anger, or just slow down so that you can even just feel sad for a moment. I just think if you could be kind to yourself.
Yeah, take a look at what's it Michael Jackson said, take a look at yourself and make that change. Thanks, Maria. I appreciate it. You appreciated that. Much love to all NDD and all. So thanks, and till next Friday, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.